All right, enough of that. Enough of that. Let me just kill that timer. All right. All right, I had to turn on the stream because, well, there was something I wanted to talk about that I realized this is another one of those things where I was talking about. Oh, well, hold up. Hey, what's up, chat? I guess I should introduce the subject that we're going to be talking about before I even get into it, right? Because there was supposed to be, I was supposed to have a video. I was supposed to have a video up before then, right? I failed you guys. I'm behind schedule. Too many things have been happening lately that kind of caught me off guard. IRL, I'm talking about. Right. It's like, no, I finally got all my technological shit worked out. You guys have no idea how much of a hassle I've had with laptops and PCs over like the time I've been making videos in this channel. Just got a good mic like a year ago. Just got a decent PC just a couple months ago, bro. I had the most ghetto setup up until a little while ago, but it worked out. The video, the Ralph video that will be going up, it was supposed to go up this month, but again, stuff got in the way. So it will be going up the first week of next month. Next month, and then we will immediately go. The video, okay, I don't want to like, I don't want to, I don't want to have to like spoil anything in the video for you, but I feel like this stream is going to be a good thing that's going to connect to the video because it carries the theme of poor fatherhood, poor decisions behind that. The video isn't a full on Ethan Ralph doc. I'm sorry, I know a lot of you guys got that impression. It is very much a Ralph video. Don't have no doubt about that. This is a very lengthy video about one of the most dramatic sagas in Ethan Ralph's life. A full-on Ralph doc though, that shit, you guys won't see me for a while. It's gonna be like when I was making the Nick Fuentes doc and you guys just didn't hear from me for like 2.5 to 3 months. It's gonna be something like that. Ralph has too much lore. Ralph probably has more lore behind his name than anybody else in the sector. Really, one of the most. He's produced more nectar and corn than almost any other law. He's up there with DSP, in my opinion. He's not the household name that Phil is, but he's up there. In a documentary about Ralph, from like point A from point B, like from Gamergate up until now, that's gonna be about the same length as a Nick Fuentes doc, and it's gonna take about as much time. So no, I'm not. I didn't produce a Ethan Ralph doc in a month. Sorry, guys, but it is. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good, and it's going to be about him failing as a father. Well, that's gonna be part of it. You'll see. You'll see. It's gonna be good shit. I promise. But this time, oh, hold on. Let me go ahead and just take us to the shit. Hold on. Let me get that off. Let me get that off the. Hold on. How do I even do that? How would I even do that without you guys seeing it? Hold on. Give me a minute. Uh. All right, I got it. All right, see? See, I learned something. Before, we didn't even have to chat on screen at all. See, I'm already leveling up. Just took a whole week for me to learn how to put chat on screen. So anyway, yeah, today, as you can tell from the great title to this stream, we're gonna be talking about the grooming of Destiny's son, Nathaniel Bonnell, the kid who everyone is just they're just fighting each other, trying to be his daddy and groom them into their ideology. Right? I don't know what the grand prize for doing that is. I don't know what you get out of turning Nate Bonnell into, I don't know, a propaganda piece for whatever your personal weirdo internet beliefs are. But a lot of people are doing it. A lot of people from, especially in political communities, a lot of people are doing it. And Nate has been humoring a lot of these people because, you know, one, he's a teenager and he just likes attention. He's also just kind of edgy, and it's just for jokes. Like when we get to, there's gonna be a part of this that's about Drew Pavlo, and that's kind of a favorite of mine because he's kind of mogging him, right? Nate's gonna kind of mog Drew, and I have some shit to say about Drew when we get to him. But Ethan Ralph sent a DDoS your way. Oh no, no. I'm not really worried about Ralph trying to like strike the video or whatever when it comes out. That's whatever. Ralph's gonna do what he's gonna do. Yo, hold on. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't see the chat very well. Hold on, I can. In fact, hold on. Let me go and read this in the other tab. There we go. Your buddy Brady wanted to pop in and donate a quick 10 Negro Damas. Tell people at work to watch your John Finley video. And they liked it. Conceptually, that story would make an entertaining movie. Wouldn't it, though? The tragedy, the trials of John Finley to try and get something going along in possibly the worst city in Pine Bluff. I still hold to that, to this day, that Pine Bluff, like top 10 worst cities in America, because it has everything. It's got the crime, it's got the corruption, it's got the incompetent bureaucrats, it's got just the terrible culture. The city is degrading. You're basically as close as you can get to, you hear the saying a lot of times, America is just a third world country and a Gucci belt. Pine Bluff doesn't even have the Gucci belt. It's just third world. It's just poor. Right? And this guy's trying to make it happen, and I'm praying, right? Because that would be one of the greatest. John Finley actually getting his business to be operational and starting some shit that he wants to do in Pine Bluff. I feel like that would be the beginning of the American Renaissance for real. If a dude like John can make it in one of the worst cities in the country, we all can make it. Hey, Mikey, on my way to work, just wanted to say I hope you have a great stream. Well, I do too. We're going to talk about young Nathan here. Now, the thing is that Nathan's story is very good for a lot of guys who are... we have E-daddies, which is, when you have your favorite E-celeb, that you get your political opinions from this person, you get your worldview for this person. It's basically the digital version of what Oprah was to soccer moms in the early aughts and late 90s, right? Everything, there are people who just like, they shape their everything around what Destiny says, or what Hassan says, what H3H3 says, what Nick Fuentes says, right? These people are their models because we live in the age of the single parent household. And a lot of people, they decide to make their role models random people who just stream or make videos online. I might be one of them. I'm just saying, just ahead of time, don't use me as your model, please. Please don't use me as your role model. I'm just a retard on the internet who's here to like make you laugh. That's it. That's all I'm here to do. I'm not trying to be anything bigger than that, right? I'm not about to try and tell you what your opinions on religion or politics are supposed to be. We're just here to point and laugh at dumb shit on the internet, right? But some people take this shit very seriously, and they end up just well, they want to be groomed. They want to be groomed by these e-celebrities. Now, aside from e-daddies, we also have like actual dads who happen to be on the internet. And Nate Bonnell is very useful for guys like this. Guys like, well, I guess Review Tech is just a dad who's on the internet, right? So there are also people who try and make Review Tech their e-daddy. Just the worst guy you could actually pick. I can't think of a worse person who you, well, actually, that's not true. I actually can't think of some worse people, but he's down there, right? Why would you ever want Rich to be somebody you look up to? But yeah, we have dads who just happen to be dudes who are on the internet. Guys like Review Tech USA. Guys like King Sly. Guys like Jesse from Pod Awful. You know, people who are fathers and they just do shit on the internet. And some of these guys, you will look at somebody like Nate and you'll be like, man, how do I stop this from happening to any of my... Like, you wonder, is me being silly on the internet going to have a negative impact on my child? Now, it's very unlikely because, well, for starters, all you have to do is just not be Destiny. All you just have to do is not be Stephen Bonnell. And your son or daughter will probably turn out fine. Number two is don't parade your kids on the internet, right? This is a big problem. There are people who break this rule because, you know, they basically pimp their kids out on the internet and just use them to make money. You know, those channels where you have those kids, they're basically like Nickelodeon kids, but for YouTube instead, right? So those kids are just, but even then, that's in a different category than what's going on with Nathan. Because of who Destiny is, the future of his son's, what his son's ideology is going to be has become like a battlefield, right? Everybody wants to be the one who says, I got Destiny's son to practice what I believe. So we're going to get into this real quick, and we're going to start with some innocent things. Because part of the problem, too, about Nate is that, well, one of the reasons why he's been interacting so much with all these weird internet characters is because he has daddy issues. One of the most obvious examples of a child who just really need a more active and responsible father figure in their life. And there are old clips. Well, I say old. They seem old because, again, the nigga's like 14, which is why taking what he says too seriously, it doesn't make any sense. He's in middle school. Middle schoolers say dumb, edgy shit. It's what they do, right? You should be allowed to just say stupid, edgy shit on the internet and it not impact your future, but you can't do that anymore. So we have some old clips, and you can see, you can already see the seeds of daddy issues that will blossom into the future. Let's go through this first clip. This was back when Destiny was with Melina, just to tell you how dated this clip is.
Wow. So
I thought you were 6, Nathan. How old are you again?
10. Man, there's proof that I don't...
Are you sure you're 10, Nathan? Nathan, what year were you born?
Horn.
Huh?
Yeah, watch out, please. That is the creature, the foul monster that I have to deal with every time he comes here for once in his life. Foul creature.
That was a funny little clip, a cute little clip. But then that one thing he says, that's that one thing that says
his life. Foul creature that I have to deal with every time he comes here for once in his life.
For once in his life, that's going to be a very important, for once in his life, he's a he's Destiny isn't a absentee father in the sense that people actually think. Like, he's not a complete deadbeat. Now, he's mostly a deadbeat. I want to say 70 to 80% deadbeat and maybe 20 to 15% active father. And that's being very generous. He does see his son sometimes, right? It's like he's not an active father. He's a sometimes father. Like, he's around on the holidays, I assume. I would think those are the one days you want to actually see your kid, like on their birthday or on Christmas or on Thanksgiving or something. I assume, whatever. But no, it's like every once in his life, he comes around. And then I have to deal with this creature, right? And it's little stuff like this that just seems cute. No, it's just a kid, just talking all smart to his dad. And then you're like, You look back in hindsight and you can start to see the patterns for him, right? Like with this next clip.
I don't need to know them.
Vicious, €5. Nathan, tell us top 5 things why you love your father.
What are the top 5 things why you love me?
Because he's nice. He gives me whatever I want. I like spending time with him. And he did not leave me because he hates me. And he cares about me. And I care about him too.
Okay, I'm sorry. What was that? What was that, Nate? What did you say?
Time with him. And he did not leave me because he hates me. And
that's a weird thing to list. That's a weird thing to add to that list, Nate. He didn't leave me because he hates me. No, there's no way. He didn't do that. My dad didn't leave me because he hates me. He just left. He just left. It wasn't because he hated me. No, he just left just because. He left just because he wanted to fuck some hoes of the West Coast. It's not because he hates me, though. Oh, audio, your mic is low? Oh, excuse me. We're still trying to figure it out. I don't want to put it too high because that's when the problem starts. When I make the audio too high, that's when we start getting the echoes. And the echoes, those are annoying. But yeah. Yeah, little stuff like this. Like these 2 clips we just went over. You could already see, it's like, those are some weird things to say for a 10-year-old. That's some weird... Also, he gives whatever I want. Was bro filling the void with gifts? Of course. What else would a rich father who's not around do? If I just give you enough gifts, it's the same. It's basically the same thing as showing affection and love. It's just giving your kids gifts. Essentially the same thing. Your mic was not low? Well, alright, look. Look, you guys. I'm just gonna have to... There's gonna be trial and error with these first few streams until we get things under control, okay? This is gonna be a learning experience for everyone. Cheeseworks, have you ever attempted to interview anyone for your documentaries? I thought about it, but... Well, when I first started, obviously I wouldn't be able to... Well, for one, a lot of my documentaries are almost like mockumentaries. Like, they're real. Like, they're factual. I do a lot of research. I go out of my way to be as accurate and add as many receipts as possible. But I am making fun of these people. I am making fun of Review Tech USA. I am making fun of Dave Moscato, of Nick Fuentes, of everyone in Comicsgate. I was doing that. I was telling the truth, but I was doing that. So what could I actually expect from an interview that I did with them? Like, are they really just gonna, hey, Ethan Van Sciver, hey, can I interview you on screen so I can, like, do a 2-hour documentary where I call you a fucking fraud? EVS isn't gonna say yes to that. Hey, Vito, can I have a interview with you about how you won't fucking fulfill your comic on time and how you're possibly a pedophile, allegedly? He's not going to say yes to that. And what the fuck? Hold up. Yo, what the... I don't know what currency that is, Mr. Singh, but thank you, brother. Love you, brother. I watched each vid for 50 times. Quick question for a black brother. Can an Indian Sikh say the word love big man, keep winning? Well, look, brother, I can't tell you what you can and can't say. You know, that's not my responsibility. That's between you and God, really. I live in America. Technically, you're allowed to say whatever you want, short of I want to kill the president, unless you make a song titled I want to kill the president, but not really. You can say basically anything besides that. So, you know, hey, bro, say whatever. Thank you. Thank you for that. When I figure out what currency that is. But no, about interviewing people. I possibly could have gotten an interview from John. But part of the fun of my documentaries is doing the work myself. I like discovering stuff, right? Because one of my rules for, I have a couple rules for even making a documentary. One is, I already told you guys this in the last stream. It has to be something that only I am saying, right? Well, not only I'm saying, but it has to be something fresh. It has to be a take that people don't necessarily have. I can't be a basic bitch about things. I can't just, I don't know, make another documentary about iDubbbz. People have asked me to do that, and like, I was interested in it at first, but I'll be honest, I feel, in my opinion, the best videos that have been done about iDubbbz and Anissa are still those Big Bungie videos. In my opinion, those are still the best videos. Now, if I can find something that's like profound that nobody else has said, and that I think would be funnier than the videos that Big Bungie made on Ian and Anissa, I will absolutely do that. But until then, the second thing is it has to make me laugh, right? There has to be, when I have to be researching something and I'm getting a chuckle out of the shit I'm watching or reading, right? So, and I can't really get that from an interview. So I suppose if I started doing some shit that's more, I don't know, professional, maybe I would start doing interviews then. Big Bungie is the GOAT. Yes, he is. He's also a martyr. Yeah, got taken out by fucking Bo Blacks of all people. Allegedly. But, you know, he did. We still have to say it allegedly, though. But, you know, it'd be like that. That might end up being me with Ralph. But I'll be honest, when I drop this video, I actually don't think the subject matter of the video, I might get a strike from Ralph or somebody. I might get doxxed or DDoS'd or whatever from Ralph or somebody. But I think it's going to be somebody else who's also who's going to be a very important factor in the video who might end up trying to take it down. Just saying. Ethan is online, went down with him. Oh, that's the best way to go down. Bring your ops with you. Make them transition. Bully somebody enough that they decide they want to adopt an entirely new identity. That's basically what he did. Basically just bullied somebody enough that, you know what, I can't even be a man anymore. I'm not cut out for this man shit. That's what I hope to do. I make another video about Dave Moscato. I want it to be so mean and visceral. I make that nigga go back to being a man. That's what I want. Or at least acknowledging that he is one. All right. Now, on to this. Destiny, he started making one of the mistakes that you can make when it comes to being a father and also a content creator. He started bringing his son on, but he only did it a few times, right? It wasn't frequent. He wasn't like one of those people like, I'm just gonna pimp out my kids. I'm gonna make them grind for me. I'm gonna make them fucking earn bread for the for the family by making YouTube videos. I'm not gonna do that, right? He just brought his son on to like do little cute stuff. And we start noticing, Destiny's son isn't really that much of a clone of Destiny when it comes to political and ideological beliefs, right? That's not that big of a deal. You know, he's a little kid. Do little kids even have real political beliefs? Really, they just take the opinions of whoever is the most influential person that they listen to. But in the case of Destiny's son, the people he was listening to, obviously, was not Stephen Bonnell.
Hold on, wait, who's telling you this?
I don't.
How do you think Biden's doing so far as president, Nathan?
Biden sucks. How dare you?
Why do you think that?
Because he is helping Ukraine. Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't help Ukraine, but if we want to prevent World War III, we shouldn't take action at all. There's action.
Wait, hold on, wait, who's telling you this?
I don't know if you've talked about this yet, but
I see news articles.
Wait, Nathan, who's giving you these opinions?
So basically there's news
Who's giving you this propaganda? It's not me. Who's doing it?
On my laptop. Apparently Biden was supplying Ukraine with weapons.
Why do you read about this? Aren't you like 11 years old?
Yeah, well, aren't you an old man?
Yeah, that's why I read about this.
Well, why should you care? It's not your responsibility.
It's my job to talk about these things, okay?
His job is? He does politics and things on YouTube. He turned an important job into a less important job. Okay, let's see if I can jump. Let's go!
listen.
Wait,
Steven,
what do you mean by
let it
that,
go.
Nathan?
He is ours now.
So, you know,
No
that's
bad.
an important job, right? Now, you post that on YouTube, turning that into, like, I don't know.
How does that make it less important?
Because, you know what? Whenever something's posted on YouTube, it's probably not important.
That is very true. That is very... See, this is another thing about Nathan. Even though he's being groomed by, like, 3 or 4 different political factions, basically he's just stranded in the middle of the political compass, right? Hold on. He's stranded in the middle of the political compass with everyone trying to convince him that their belief system is the one he should adopt. He's right here, right? He's right here dead in the center. And, you know, he kind of just drifts in between, like, you know, somewhere like libertarian right and authoritarian right, depending on who he's talking to, because he kind of likes to trigger people, which is kind of based. It is also very typical of a kid in his early teens. But also, it's like, he's also self-aware of the fact that this internet politics shit really ain't that serious. This is something that everybody else who's in his dad's orbit or who's in Nick Fuentes' orbit seem to fail to realize, is that politics are important. This internet e-celeb political shit, not really that important. Not really. And he takes it about as seriously as he should.
I mean, I want to, hold on, actual question for you. How many people got really angry with you based on your opinion?
I'd say quite a few people.
No plane, do not fall. Man, that was actually kind of cool. Quarantine area. What, is this coronavirus all over again? Coronavirus? You know, still right? Yeah, I know. How?
Why would he say that?
He's a Rona
Because
skeptic.
I can. I'm not making it.
Nathan, Biden helping Ukraine is a good thing, okay? We want to protect Ukraine. They're good
Yeah,
people.
well,
He knows it
Jackson
wasn't a
is,
pandemic, it was a plandemic. He knows.
Start World War III.
Well, doesn't that make Russia just a big bully then? Isn't that Russia's fault?
Yeah, well, do we actually, do we want World War III to happen? Because that's believed to be like the end of the world, the thing that, Doomsday happens, or like, the thing, Area 51.
Like, is not having a semi-serious geopolitical discussion with your son not kind of weird? Like, is that not insane? Like, dude. Why? It's crazy enough that your son even knows this stuff, but why would you discuss it with him on the street? What it was is that Destiny was just surprised that his son had taken the polar opposite side of the issue than him. Like, he couldn't believe that. Because he's, okay, who are you listening to? It's always weird to me when Destiny is surprised that his son adopts political beliefs that are so the opposite of his own. Because, dude, you're not even around to even monitor what your kid is listening to. You don't, like... You aren't around enough to even influence him. Your son doesn't watch you like that. He knows about your drama because everybody knows about your drama. I don't know, man. Simply don't know. Then again, his brain is probably fucked from taking all that Adderall like crazy. Oh, yeah. I actually think this is actually something I've been thinking about with the Adderall because I think it was Too Mad who no, it was Leafy. Leafy was the one who was like, yeah, all these niggas are on Adderall. All the streamers are on Adderall. All the esport guys are 100% on Adderall. That's what I heard from Leafy one time back when he was streaming actively on Rumble or whatever. Or was it Twitch? Anyway, Leafy basically came out and was like, everybody's on Adderall, and Too Mad was super on Adderall. And I had to wonder if that has anything to do with like Too Mad, you know, self-deleting, leaving the server so abruptly. It had to do with like, maybe he was on too much Adderall, or maybe he was on too much Adderall and then suddenly came off of it and he couldn't cope. I kind of wonder, because I know that Stephen Bernelli here, he's not on that shit like he used to be, right? It's part of the reason why he doesn't fidget as much. He's able to stay still a little bit now. And I wonder if that has to do with him no longer being on that. Well, you can't call it sauce, right? Like, it's not illegal, but you really shouldn't be taking it that often all the time just so you can stream frequently and talk to 20 people at once while also playing Factoro or whatever the fuck. Wait, hold on. There was something there where you asked me. Can you make a doc on the New Wave movement? What New Wave movement? There are quite a few movements that call themselves New Wave something. Destiny's. Oh yeah, and this is a few years later. I think this was this like a year or 2 years ago? The internet moves so fucking fast, bro. But this was that infamous moment. Yeah, it was a little over a year ago, where Destiny's son got banned for busting a cap in his daddy's ass.
Destiny is so cooked.
Bro, look at how he looked at the cat. Look at how he looked at the cat. Look at how he looking at us, chat. He's like, yeah, y'all know. Y'all know what it is. Y'all know what it is. Oh, he's been waiting for... He has dreams about this. You know he does. He has dreams where, like, it's a gun that doesn't have an orange tip on the top. I love this. I love this, right? Where he goes to the door. Why are you hiding it? Why are you hiding the gun behind your back like that, Nate? What do you think this is, bro? You think this fucking Splinter Cell? You think this is Metal Gear Solid, bro? What? You think this is Hitman? Dude. Oh, I think he practiced this, like, for real. I really do. Oh, I really do. Anyway, this was, I call this the official beginning of the rebel phase, right? This is where he's in outright revolt against his dad. And when you know about, again, this is like 2024, right? So if I was Destiny's son and I knew what my dad was getting up to, and my dad was getting up to all the shit that Destiny was, really, I say 2024, but it was a culmination of shit. Because again, there's another video. I didn't show it because there's really nothing to show, but it's just him hanging out with Melina when he's like 10 or 9. You know, it's a cute little video, but it's like, it was, you know, it was, you have to think, what does it do to a kid? Because he was having a good time with Melina. What does it do for a kid who saw the relationship between Melina and his father go down the way it did? Because again, we know all those details about Destiny's former wife. So that means he does too. The reason why, like, so there's a lot of like inner turmoil and like trauma and pent up frustration leading up to this moment right here. Like, that wasn't, he didn't just randomly just pick up a little airsoft gun and decide to, like, pop his dad. LTG knows it's time for men. Maybe he's seeking love in the arms of Fuentes. I have ADHD. The fidgeting is always, you do Vivacin and Adderall, something that makes you sit still. It's a game changer, honestly. Can you make a video on Sargon of a Cat? You know what? Okay. I don't like to give away what I get up to too much. You know, I make the post when I'm like soon or next week, or if I feel like lying to you guys, I'll say tomorrow, and then I'll drop the video like 2-3 days after I said tomorrow. But I am kind of cooking on something, not necessarily a Sargon specific video, but I kind of do want to talk about this. Well, I have several video ideas that happen to include Sargon, because the era of the internet that really fascinates me is like, it's like the era that came immediately after, say, the Blackbuster critic, Big Al Helsing era of YouTube, right? The when guys like the Amazing Atheist and Fred were just taken off, the era that came right after that with like the skeptic community, guys like Sargon. Well, I guess I want to say Medicare, but I guess Jim really was like an OG YouTuber. Like, he's been around since the early aughts, but he really got popping around that point. Like, I would say post Gamergate YouTube, that little era right there, that little 5 to 7 years after, during and after Gamergate, is the part of YouTube history that fascinates me the most. And I do have some video ideas and some stuff that I'm already working on involving that. So there's going to be a Sargon video, but it might not be a Sargon specific. Liberalists, yes, the liberalists will be involved in at least one of the video ideas I have going up. I really want to make a documentary about the skeptic community, to be honest. Because that was an interesting era, right? Because those people don't know, the skeptics were kind of running shit during their golden age, right? I guess, you know, Sargon never stopped being popular. Like, he started making videos regularly again. And I don't know, he's got some good views. Shoe Head still has good views. Worski doing great with Kino Casino, with PPP. So it's not like all of the skeptics, it's not like they just died. But there was like this era when they really were, it was during this part of YouTube where, I don't know, we're getting kind of off topic now, but there's this thing, it's like infinite tunnel where everything seemed to intersect in early YouTube. Everybody, it's like you would have a guy where, like, there were a lot of guys who were like Spoonie, right? Where Spoonie, he would review movies, he would review video games, he would review all this shit, right? And everybody, you would have a guy he would do anime, and then he would do video games, and then he would do politics, and then he would do comics, and then he would do comedy skits, right? This is why Rich is the way he is, because Rich is one of those guys, but he realized too late that you can't be that guy anymore. YouTube became a place where you would have people who would put so much effort and production value behind one genre that you couldn't multitask and be a jack of all trades like that anymore, right? You have to be just a video game guy, and maybe you can also do anime. You have to be just a politics guy, and I don't know, maybe you can do some shit about history or whatever, but you can't do everything. That doesn't work anymore. Bro, Shoe Head sold out so much, dude. Well, none of the skeptics really believe necessarily the shit that they all believed back in the day. Like, though that era was gone. Breadbug, academics, please respond. See, Kraut might be the one skeptic who still is like fundamentally the same guy that he was back then. And he just found a way to make it work, right? I'll be honest, I like Kraut's new shit. I like Kraut's recent big documentary, big production, Poland Ball history channels. I think those are actually pretty cool. It is nice that he was the only skeptic who seemed to transition without just abandoning, or I don't know, reforging everything about his old identity. Because all of them did that. Even Worski to a certain extent, although I think that has less to do with Worski like abandoning principles and more to do with the fact that he's no longer on drugs, and also he's just kind of like ashamed of that era in general. To be fair, I would too. A lot of the skeptics were like, you know, they were losers, and there's a reason why the majority of them have been forgotten. It's kind of like Channel Awesome, where you have like a few guys from there who people remember, but in general, nobody remembers who the fuck those niggas are anymore. They've been forgotten to time. Thunderfoot is more of an atheist personality than a skeptic. That's true, but the skeptic community, again, it was that era where you could be a bunch of things and you would still be put into that group. Now, getting back to Destiny's Son. Okay. So this is when, right? So Destiny's Son, this is when the grooming really begins, right? Because people, they could smell it. They could smell blood in the water. And they're like, oh my God, Destiny's Son. Destiny is such a bad father figure. I can come in to the vacuum that is his son's mental state, and I can just fill him in with my ideology, with my beliefs. So this is a debate between Vegan Gains, another OG, really. He's been doing this shit for around a decade, right? He's gotten into shit with Destiny before. He's decided to bring on Destiny's son Nathan for a debate on veganism. Now, we're not going to watch all of this. We're just going to watch like 4 or 5 minutes, a specific part, right? Because I'll be honest, Lil Nate got cooked, right? He got fucked up. Vegan Gains just mocked this nigga, which, you know, you would expect that, but as we're going to see later on, right, with Drew Pavlo, just because there's a significant age gap and a lot of debate experience on one person's side, that doesn't mean that they automatically can beat a 14-year-old in an internet debate. But nah, Vegan Gains, he's an OG. He's a veteran debate, bro. He's been doing this, right? And Destiny's Son essentially just admits defeat. He just bows down like, you're right, Vegan Gains. It's bad to eat chicken and beef or whatever. Because I'll be honest, when it comes to vegans, I feel like when it comes to like debating vegans, they are basically right when they're like, people are hypocrites about being mad at some Chinese nigga for selling dog meat on the side of the road, but then like being perfectly fine with eating a burger or a steak. Like, they're right about us being hypocrites. They're right about the inconsistency. The thing is, nobody gives a fuck, right? Like, if you were to kill a butterfly, people would think you're an asshole. If you kill a roach, nobody cares. Life is about aesthetics. Too bad. I like to eat cows. I like to eat chickens. If I heard that you ate a dog, I'd probably treat you like a subhuman. Am I a hypocrite for doing that? 100%. Still, it doesn't matter. Are steroids vegan? Yes, they are. Thank God for that. I can get swole while still preaching that good gospel of not eating animal products. So, in this, I just want to bring this up, right? Because at this point, Destiny's son Nate, he is in the process of being groomed by the Groypers. Like, the Groypers are starting to crowd around him because he's a good example of how the Groyper sausage gets made. Because what he is a guy with a father who's like pseudo absentee, not a great role model, has done a lot of shit to give him a lot of trauma and whatnot. So he doesn't really have a good compass for where he should go. He's reaching out for people who he can reach out to and like form a bond with. And the Groypers just feast on kids like that. Oh, this is how Nick's fan base gets built. Just with lost young men who don't know what to do in life. This is how his fan base builds, right? The age of the single house, without the age of the single household, if like 80+% of children in America were raised in 2-parent households, Nick Fuentes wouldn't have any fan base at all. Like, straight up. A lot of these streamers wouldn't, to be honest. So this is how he's getting adopted. He's getting adopted by the Groypers. But even then, Vegan Gains is going to say something related to Jews that's just going to make Nathan go, what? Now let's watch.
Oh no. overall, you're probably right. I think it just mainly stems from personal beliefs and opinions, and the overall belief that most, of humanity has about animals. So, like...
Well, I mean, just because, like, this is a culturally accepted standard, that doesn't mean it's right. Like, at one point, most of humanity was enslaving other races. For a very long time, it was illegal for gay people to be married, and if you were gay, you would literally be murdered. That's still the case in a lot of places in the world today. Just because that may or may not be a culturally accepted standard, that doesn't make it okay. Like, you can make the choice to just recognize that, you know, this is wrong, and do what I did and just go vegan.
Yeah, that's also right.
Mocked.
Oh no, I don't...
Like, Vegan Gains did just slap Destiny's son around. Like, he did. Which, of course, he did. He's a grown-ass man has a lot of experience with debating other people about veganism. About this, you would think he's debating a teenager, fucking 14-year-old. And his specialty, in his wheelhouse, it's an easy ass beating. But when we get to Drew, you're gonna see that's not always the case.
I don't really have any, like, crazy good points against veganism other than, like, personal preference.
Well, then maybe your personal preference is wrong. Like, have you ever owned any pets, like a cat or a dog?
Yes.
What makes your cat or dog any different than a cow, chicken, or pig on a, like, factory farm? Like, you wouldn't kill and eat your cat or dog, right?
Why do you think it's different? I can have a pet chicken or,
Yeah, and people do have pet chickens and pigs and cows, and why wouldn't you prefer to live in a world where, rather than these animals getting brutally murdered, having their throats slit open on a conveyor belt, people just treated these animals with love and respect and kindness like they do, you know, like how you treat your pets? Like, I don't think you've ever, like, the thought crossed your mind that, well, I need B12, so I'm going to slit my dog or cat's throat. Like, you'd never think anything like that. Like, when you look at your cat or dog, you just think, you know, that's a person with thoughts and feelings just like me.
This is basically Piccolo adopting Gohan and just, like, grooming him to be his successor, well, like, his apprentice after Goku dies. It even has the green backdrop. He's Big Green. He's Big Green who eats big greens, and he gets huge while eating them. That's what Vegan Gains is. He's trying to get Nate huge on that vegan diet. He's gonna he won't give him the steroids though. He'll just give him SARMs. It's gonna be a huge, swole as 14, 15-year-old vegan on SARMs. That's what Vegan Gains' ultimate vision for Nate Bonnell is.
You want to, like, love and cuddle and play with them, and people do that with cows and pigs and chickens. There are people who have these animals as pets. So don't you think it's kind of sick that we live in a world where, on the one hand, we have people that are just kind and compassionate and treat these animals just like how you treat your pets, and then we have a massive amount of people who are, you know, paying for a literal Holocaust. These animals are getting genocided on an industrial scale.
Okay, so I think it's very unfair to say that's a Holocaust. I think that's...
How is it not a Holocaust?
How is it not a
Because the
Holocaust?
had the one goal to exterminate a large group of people hated by Hitler and the Nazis. They hated a group of people, so they wanted them all exterminated. That's what the Holocaust was. The animals are killed and eaten, and
okay, so
it's not...
let me ask you this. Would the Jewish Holocaust have been less bad if Hitler forced Jews to breed so that they would never go extinct, and he would kill and eat Jews and use them as, like, hamburger meat? Like, that would make it worse, because that is just perpetual, ongoing, horrible, horrific violence on an industrial scale that will never end.
Wait, hold on. What did you just say?
Like, look, he had nothing. Little bro he was flabbergasted. He's been hanging around the Groypers. They've been talking all this shit to him about the Holocaust and about Jews and about Nazis. And he never heard nothing like that. I've never heard anything like that. I've watched so much dissident right content over the years. I've never heard that sort of Jewish Holocaust analogy. What if Hitler just factory farmed the Jews? Rather than killing them, he just factory farmed them and bred them and then just used them as just like fresh meat. What if he did? I've never heard anybody say anything like that in my life before. See, this is why Vegan Gains is still around, right? This is the sort of shit that only an OG YouTuber who's been through, like, Nate didn't stand a chance. He wasn't ready for it. He wasn't ready for these type of arguments. He wasn't ready for somebody who's going to bring the heat. I bet that's not even a light. He doesn't even have a light, right? He's been vegan for so long. Everything around him just turns green now. That's his aura. He has a green aura. So anyway, that was the vegan, that was the Destiny's Son, the Nathan versus Vegan Gains debate. And it was a decisive victory for Vegan Gains, who just left Nathan just stunned with his "what if Hitler just factory farmed Jews as if they were farm animals" argument. He had no response for that. He had to tap out. So, oh shit. Am I? Hold on. Don't mind me, I'm just looking at shit. Okay. So yeah, moving on. I feel like that argument specifically, it really radicalized him. It really brought something out of Nathan, right? He had to. Vegan Gains is the Black Morrissey. Oh my god, I've never thought of that. That's the first. Yeah, that is perfect actually. Vegan Gains is the Black Morrissey. Oh shit. So yeah, I feel like that did something because he's gonna get a little bit more extreme. Because again, in that argument he just had with Vegan Gains, he was admitting that the Holocaust existed at all. The Holocaust was a real thing. Yes, Hitler did hate the Jews and tried to exterminate them. Like he tried to just ethnically cleanse them from Europe entirely. That was a real thing that happened, right? As we're gonna go forward, he's gonna be a little skeptical of that, right? Groiper's just whispering sweet nothings in his ears about how, it wasn't 6 million, nah, maybe a couple 100,000. And that wasn't from gas chambers because those didn't even exist, stuff like that. So before we get to that, this is going to be a very short one. This one by Tyson Hockley talking to Destiny's Son. I feel like all of these dudes, right? Like Vegan Gains did this with his videos too. They make the mistake of saying Destiny's Son and not Destiny's Child, right? Now I know I'm not one to speak of that necessarily because I also name my thing Destiny's Son, but that's just because, I'm still trying to cheese the algorithm. I don't want to get caught up somebody looking for a song or something. So here we have it. We're going to skim through this because they're going to end up talking about Destiny's sex life. And I don't really want to hear these guys talking about whether Destiny is gay or bi just because he likes sucking dick. Because Nate here is 14 and this guy is 17. And I really don't... I was watching this. I was feeling a little skeeved out as I was watching it. I really don't want to see that sort of discussion between two minors.
So welcome to the stream, brother. Hey man, so I'm not even sure exactly where I'll get started. So are you an only child?
Yeah, kinda. I live with my mom, and she has a boyfriend. He has a son, so kinda not.
Okay, so are your parents like split up then? Like your mom found like a new boyfriend, or?
Yeah, kinda. Yeah.
Okay. Huh. So like how much have you like interacted? Obviously, fair bit with your father. Like what's that been like having like Destiny as your dad?
Yeah, I interact with him. I'd say like daily. I message him on Discord.
Fuck it. Hold on. Let me go back here. I gotta edit the... Everyone is trying to groom Destiny's child. Just gonna rename the stream that. Okay. Now back to these two minors talking about Destiny's son's father's sex life.
From like time to time, and he responds most of the time. And then also usually he'll visit me. I've started visiting him since like 2 summers ago. I started visiting him. Yeah, I interact him. I interact with him. I'd say like daily. I message him on Discord. From like time to time, and he.
That's what interacting with your dad is for Nate. Is I talk to him on Discord like every day or so, right? That I don't know, would that count? Because look, I grew up in a 2-parent household. I know that shit is crazy. Wait, Mikey, you're black. You grew up with a father? Yes, I did actually. My father was a active part of my life, right? He was my first role model. That thing that's supposed to happen, you make your dad your first role model. That thing that a lot of niggas miss out on. I actually had that when I was younger, right? And interacting with your dad, for me, is more of a case of talking to him every day. Is him taking you to the batting cages. Is you doing some stupid shit. So now he takes you in the car and you have to go on a long ride. And he just chews your ass out. That's what I think, interacting with your dad is. Him kicking your ass because, I don't know, you got suspended from school. That's what interacting with your father is for me. Talking to your dad via DMs, I don't know if that's interacting. I mean, that's basically... He basically has the same amount of interaction as all of the fucking Discord bunnies that that Destiny talks to. All the e-hoes that are in his DMs all the time. That's the same amount of interaction and connection that Nate has with his dad.
He responds most of the time, and then also usually he'll visit me. I've started visiting him since like 2 summers ago. I started visiting him in Miami, so.
Yeah. Got you. And bro, like your political views are very, very different from your dad.
Yeah.
For example, you made a tweet saying Hitler had daddy issues too. So like, explain what you mean by that, brother.
It was kind of a funny joke. And it was clever in my opinion, and it did what I wanted it to do. It made people mad.
See, he's just out here to trigger people. If people get like they take it so serious, they're taking it more seriously than he is. Because it is serious. It is serious because you're seeing this kid who obviously has issues with his relationship with his father and is hanging out with certain internet cretins that he shouldn't be hanging out with. But it's just a kid being edgy at the end of the day. But you have all these people who are talking like it's this big deal. Some of it because they're just like, they take this shit too seriously. Another time, it's just, they're just using this as an example to attack Destiny. They're using him as a vector of attack against his dad. And Nate knows it, which, he uses that to his advantage too. Because if he could piss off everybody plus his dad, that's, that's bonus points for him.
Yeah, it's a pretty... I mean, bro, you obviously have a good brain for social media. I'm not sure if you got that from your father, but just going through your Twitter here, I could tell you definitely...
Rich's kid has it best because she never has to see him.
Yo, can you still hear me? You just kind of cut out a little. Yo.
Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry, I had to do something.
Okay, got you. So, like, what does your dad think about, like, all your social media and stuff? Because, like, your dad, I'm not sure if you know, but your dad is pretty hardcore liberal, right? So, what does he think about, like... Because you're very much not that. So, what does he think about that?
He hates it, and it's really funny. He wanted me to delete my Twitter, but I decided to just redact all my tweets. He said that was good enough, so I redacted my tweets and then went back to saying stuff online.
His dad is clamping down on his free speech, bro. Nate can't even be who he wants to be on social media. Now, some of you might say, well, Mikey, he's his dad. Fathers and mothers should have, like, some say-so over the things that their children who are still underage are saying on the internet. Well, okay, but I don't know. I feel like it's not fair for Destiny to be all act like he's daddy now just because his kid is saying shit that's making him look bad or that's putting him in a bad position. You didn't care about what he was doing on the internet before then.
Yeah. What made you, like, come to that, like, point of view, like, politically? Like, what made you... Because obviously, like, being Destiny's son, right? You're gonna have like a lot of more like you'd imagine you'd have a lot more like liberal ideologies being.
Is
raised
he
by
in the
somebody like
garage
that. So,
just
like, what
spinning
point was it where
around?
you kind
Kinda.
of came into your own and formed like your own separate belief system.
It was kind of around a few.
See, I don't know what Destiny's son is on. I don't know if he's on anything. I don't know if he's like on Adderall or Vivasi or whatever the fuck like his dad. I think that Destiny just has fidget genetics and it's passed down. Cause this kid's got the Jones, right? Like he be, bro. It's like he's got fucking Tourette's. He's got it worse than Ethan does. Worse than Ethan Klein.
Months ago, I started talking to a lot more groupers. I did finally convince.
See.
A few months ago, I started talking to a lot more groupers. I did finally.
Started talking to a lot of groupers just a few months ago. And how many months ago was this? It was June 20. So before summer, by spring, basically early 2025, maybe late 2024. Groupers were moving in. They're like, we're gonna take Destiny's son away from him. We're going to convert Destiny's son into the ultimate weapon against these liberal pieces of shit, right? This is what Destiny is gonna get for breaking Nick's heart and not wanting to be his friend anymore.
Convince my moderation team.
That was actually like Nick's biggest problem with Destiny. It had nothing to do with politics. It was simply because Destiny didn't want to be his friend anymore. Like we might end up on stream, we might end up like watching that AFPAC. No, I don't think it was an AFPAC. No, it was a rally, right? I think it was the Florida rally that he banned Ethan Ralph from, and then Ralph started doxing all his top groypers while in the parking lot, and he immediately got banned off Cozy after that. Yeah, I think it was there. He basically said on stream about Destiny, called him a cuck, and also said, fine, he doesn't want to be my friend. Who cares? It's like, who says that? Who goes on stage to talk about how another grown man didn't want to be your friend? So now, it's like when he sent Jaden those DMs about how fine. We're not like that anymore, man. Don't count on me for anything. We can be pals, but we're not like that anymore. Nick, that is not how, like, dudes talk to each other. That's not even how close friends can say some intimate shit to each other, even if they're guys. But that's not how, like, well-adjusted straight men communicate.
On NGG,
dude,
to start allowing groupers to join the Discord.
Crazy.
So I did that, and I started talking to them, and I kind of started doing more research again into stuff like the Holocaust and World War II, and leading up to World War II, stuff like that. And I came to the opinions, I'd say, very naturally.
Okay.
Good thing. Let's see. Giga Todd Howard. Good thing Ollie Alexander isn't part of AF anymore. Now, I wouldn't say that, Todd Howard. I don't know if I would say that. Now, he isn't a active, well, I wouldn't even say that. He isn't an open part of AF anymore, right? He's not like you. He's not seen anymore. But I have some evidence, right? I have some receipts that show that Ollie Alexander, he's not completely gone. He's in the shadows, right? Like Milo did force Ollie Alexander into the shadows. He will never be the big political influencer he wants to be. Milo stole that from him. But he's not exactly gone, right? Because he's too useful and he was too loyal to Nick. Right? I have the receipts. I won't show them now, right? Because I'm still gathering shit. I'm kind of doing what Milo was doing to get rid of Ollie back then. I'm just like sitting on my hands while I'm gathering receipts and shit. But nah, Ollie Alexander, he ain't gone like he thinks he is. But yeah, you don't want to be. Young men have no business being in America first. That is not a safe place for a young man to be.
So are you a groyper then?
Oh no, but I agree with a lot of things they say.
At least he doesn't like outright
right,
call
no,
himself
no.
a groyper.
I mean,
At least that's one thing.
I'm like a groyper really at all. I mean, dude, that's kind of like the most toxic like community online. Like, are you sure like those are your guys?
Yeah, I like being mean to people online. It's fun. I like getting responses out of people. I like the attention. And I think they do make a lot of fair points that are overlooked because of.
I like that he admits that he's just here for the
predetermined
attention.
beliefs about them because other things they say online.
I like how honest he is. You know what I like about Nate? I like that he isn't a manipulative little piece of shit, right? I appreciate that about him, right? Does he want attention? Is he trying to trigger people? Is he trying to trigger his dad and kind of make him look bad? Yeah, but he's honest about all these things, right? He's not trying to clandestinely play these weird internet political games that a lot of people do when they just like are gay. He's not a gay opper. And I appreciate that about Nate. He's just like, yeah, I'm just trying to fuck with people because I think it's funny. I appreciate that about the little guy.
Because of predetermined beliefs about them because other things they say online.
Yeah, is there any way you can like find a place to sit down so like you get the full camera on you because it's kind of like kind of a little bit choppy.
Yeah.
All right, so Destiny's son is hanging out with Groipers. All right, hell yeah. Why did your I'll just give you a sec. Yo, what's up, Kingmaker? We got 2 Adams in the chat. Adam 1 and then uppercase Adam. How you guys doing today? Guys, like and share the stream. Everybody hit the like button. We're just getting the boy. All right, there we go. W lighting. Let's go.
Damn, strong as fuck. Move the whole.
So, I saw that your dad.
Move the whole love seat by himself.
Right? Why did you do that?
I actually don't know. He hasn't told me, and he doesn't seem to be planning on telling me why he did that. But I think it's funny. I assume it was something I said maybe.
Yeah. Like, are you saying like maybe he doesn't want to be like associated with you for some reason? Like his followers would be
Bro,
like,
look at him. Look, hold on. Bro, look at him. Hold on. You may not see it because I do have this thing, but even when I put it on normal speed, look. Just jittering. Like he's got Tourette's. Like he's on fucking speed, bro. Why are you scratching? Why are you scratching your elbow? Like, dude, did you shoot up with something? Bro, those are not normal movements, dude. Okay. Like, dude.
Oh, yeah, my phone keeps turning off. That's...
Got you. So, have you had any like arguments with your dad? Because like when you made that tweet, like it was like obviously like a joke tweet, but would you say that you have daddy issues with Destiny?
I in the traditional sense, maybe no. In some way, yeah, I do. Of course, because he's not around, as much as, other people's parents are. In some way, yeah, it was a genuine tweet, but it was mostly a joke.
Yeah. Would you say that your dad is like kind of like not spend as much time with you because he's been like so focused on streaming and like everything that he does online?
I don't really know. I do think that it did work out for him better when he decided to move away. It did help him better with the streaming, but I wouldn't say that was the motivation.
That's... Again, I appreciate how honest he is. Like, he just comes out to say, yeah, I have issues with my dad, because he's barely around. I don't really see the nigga that much, right? And yeah, it probably was the best thing for his career, for him to just, like, leave me behind with my mom in Nebraska and just go to do whatever the fuck he wanted in the West Coast. Just fuck bitches and just stream every day. Giga Mango, thanks for the 5, brother. Nathan is honest about his intentions and where his opinions lie, whereas his birthing person, Steve II, is the very opposite. A human gaslight, he is. Yeah, it's ADHD, Mikey. I've been doing that my entire life. Really? I've known somebody with ADHD. I guess it just wasn't as severe, right? It's, severity is different for everyone. Well, he could also just be camera shy. It's easy to speak big behind a screen, but even digital live interactions, let alone phone calls, can get people to behave in a similar manner under pressure. That's fair. I'm willing to be fair to Nate way more than I am to his dad. And it's not just because, he's like fucking, he's only 14. It's because I genuinely feel he's just like an honest, troubled young kid who's just being caught up with a bunch of internet nonsense because of the shit his dad gets up to. Now, this guy, obviously, he wanted to bring Nate on so he can get some views for his channel, which good for him. You know, he's 17. He's trying to do it big. He may be trying to be an E-celeb, or maybe, you know, he just thought it would be fun. Whatever. I'm not really concerned about what these teenagers get up to. But now you got fucking, you know when you know when you know that a subject has now gotten to a point where it's just being milked by the bottom feeders of influencers. It's when people like Alex Stein start getting on that shit, right? So Alex Stein decided that he was going to do well, I say he decided. This might have just been the idea of some producer at The Blaze. I'm not even sure if Alex Stein can come up with anything that's original or interesting by himself. This isn't even that interesting of an idea. It's basically, let me get on the sons of two prominent, controversial internet figures from like opposite ends of the political spectrum, and let me bring them on so they can talk to each other about their dads and how that, which sounds interesting. But of course, Alex just manages to make it boring as fucking fuck.
We want to, but hopefully we can help mend the fences or empathize with him and help Nathaniel out, because I know that you probably needed somebody to help you when you're younger, and it always helps if you.
Oh yeah, this is Alex Jones' son, Rex Jones. In case you didn't know, Alex Jones had a son. I had no idea until I watched this video. I didn't know.
Have, you know, some good advice, right?
I knew he had a family, but I never seen any member of his family. I've never seen his wife. I never seen any of his kids, right? Because like I don't. If you're an E-celeb, see, this is surprising that somebody like Alex Jones is better at keeping his privacy, just keeping his personal life away from the internet than somebody like Destiny. Destiny, I know way too much personal shit about this nigga's life that I really don't. Alex Jones, this is the first time I've ever seen his son before.
Let's bring on the one, the only.
Let me check something. Who's Alex? Who the fuck is Alex Stein exactly? Alex Stein. Alex Stein is a dude from the... Well, Alex Stein is a couple things. None of them impressive. He tried to go to LA to be a comedian, but that failed. Many such cases. He got a little short appearance on a reality TV show. He got voted off in the first episode because he was boring. Again, many such cases. His only real job aside from being E-celeb was selling cars. Again, many such cases. Now, you would think that make him a failure. The reality is that Alex Stein cannot fail because he comes from a wealthy family and he's a trust fund baby. Now, coming from a wealthy family and having like... It's a good thing to be a trust fund kid. I would love that my family, like my grandparents or my grandparents' parents, had saved up the capital, right? And they had so much foresight that they just like amassed these funds so that their grandchildren or great-grandchildren could just have this generational wealth to guarantee their success. But see, here's the thing. Even if you do that, even if you raise your kids in a wealthy gated neighborhood like Alex Stein grew up in, even if you put all this money and invest in them and whatever, they could still end up just wanting to be some shitty comedian and just have some dumb podcast on the internet, working for some fucking talking pundit ass media company like The Blaze.
Nathaniel Bonnell, the young legend. Nathaniel, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing fine. Thank you. No nervous.
No, dude. No need to be nervous. I'm a big fan of yours. Your Twitter is...
Really, Alex, you're a big fan. Tell me, what's your favorite piece of content that Nate has ever made? Hey, what's your favorite tweets by Nate? Do you have him lined up, buddy? Like, what do you mean you're a big fan? You don't know this nigga. Nobody knows who Nate is outside of, like, who his dad is for real. Just kissing ass for no reason.
Absolutely insane. In a good
Kissing
way,
a 14-year-old's
but,
ass.
Really enjoying the content that you're putting out. I'm not even kidding. And Nathaniel, even though your
He's not even
had
kidding,
some heat in the
guys.
past, I just want to open up with this, and I mean this. I had some heat with my parents growing up. I think that's
How? How could you have heat with your parents, Alex? Again, he is a trust fund baby. His parents raised him in he was raised in a wealthy household. Like, his mother passed away during, the coronavirus pandemic, and RIP to that. That's sad. But there's no reason for you to have had any drama with your parents, bro. You grew up with a silver spoon in your mouth. What possible? Well, maybe they had a problem with him wanting to be like some comedian in LA, of which there are 80,000, and maybe like 40 of them will succeed, rather than just take the money that the family saved up so he could go be a doctor or a lawyer or whatever. Like, he would have had a better YouTube career probably if he had just, I don't know, gone through law school and then become a law tuber, right? He could have been like Nick Rekieta, sans the, drugs and the ruining his life and his family's life. He could have been that. But instead, he's doing this, talking about, oh, I got into it with my parents. Over what? Over wasting money and time?
the natural maturation, process as a young person, especially with anybody with their dad, whether their dad's famous or not. So actually, instead of me bashing anything about your dad, I want to say that you probably should empathize with him a little bit because it's not that easy. So with all that being said, I also want to introduce you to Rex Jones.
Howdy.
This is the son of Alex Jones, who is obviously, you know who he is, and maybe he can help kind of navigate some of the problems that you may be facing and can kind of help you solve.
Yes, Alex Jones is a LARPer. He wants to give off the impression that he got it out the mud. Like, he once had a debate with Destiny where he was pretended to be, I don't know, like he was a have-not. Like he was somebody like, I had to grind for this. No, you didn't, bro. You have so many connections. It's ridiculous. You're one of the most privileged people in America, really, in the world, when you think about it. Because being privileged in America pretty much puts you in the 0.001% of like all people on Earth. Like there's no way you could fail outside of like going out of your way to do so. But he wants to act like, I don't know, he wants to LARP like he's out here really grinding for it.
Sound like something you're interested in doing, Nathaniel?
He is a LARPer, yes.
Yeah.
It's nice to meet you, brother. Like, before anything, like I get it, and I know how it is to have a parent that is like notorious for various subjects, and that is also like a character in various respects.
See, now Rex is actually being real here, because I could imagine having a dad like Alex Jones probably is exhausting, right? Everybody knows that he's your dad too. So every time, like when he was saying how all those parents whose kids got just blown away at that school by that madman, that mad shooter, right? And he just had to deal with that. He just had to go to school and shit while everybody was just asking him, hey man, how come your dad keeps saying that all that school shooting didn't happen and all those kids are still alive and all their parents were just pretending to be sad? How come your dad keeps saying that? Hey, how come your dad keeps trying to sell like fucking shark brain pills to people? How come your dad keeps doing that? Right? I could imagine that probably is pretty difficult to deal with in a day-to-day thing.
And I know it's not easy. I remember being 17. At that time, I was like going around the Stop the Steal rallies during 2020, and I get it. I know what it's like to have people ask you questions about your dad and have problems about your dad, and you don't have to answer to any of that because you're not your dad, right? But
that's true.
You're your own person, right? Like I'm my own person. You're your own person. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, so Nathaniel, what do you think about that? Because you are, politically, you're different than your dad, and your dad blocked you, and I don't like to see that. I want to try to mend the fences. I think Destiny should unblock you, but how is it navigating kind of being a conservative young man, and your dad's one of the biggest liberal voices on the left?
It's kind of a big meme. It was expected by many. I went the way I am politically right now for different
Turn the
reasons
volume
than
up.
other
My
people
bad.
think. It hasn't really affected me too much. Of course, I've gotten bigger on Twitter over stuff I said and did. But it hasn't really affected me in any other way. And of course, me and my dad still talk, even though he blocked me on Twitter. I talk to him about every day.
Okay, well that's awesome. So that's good to hear. So
That's
you and
great.
Destiny are tied. And I didn't know if there was heat, so I wasn't even trying to insinuate that. I'm just saying, as a young man, it's normal.
Again, talking to my dad every day for Nate can be anything from I actually talked to my dad face to face to I called my dad to I just DM'd my dad to I just talked to him on Discord. Like there's so many. It's so vague when he says stuff like this. When he says I talk to my dad every day. Do you really, or does your dad just like send you like a DM every other day?
Normal, whether your dad's famous
It colors your life, doesn't it, a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel you, bro.
And you have
Blocking your son is an L. Like blocking your son on social media. Why, bro? Like, what's the point of this, Steven? What actually do you get out of blocking your son? Well, you can't see your tweets anymore. Do you not want to see his tweets? Is that what it is? Like, it's so goofy, dude.
You have started to gain a following.
He makes the drama worse. He really does.
To go follow you on Twitter. You're saying some crazy, wild things that I'm sure some people would consider controversial. But can you tell us a little bit about you, Nathaniel? Like, how old are you? And I know we don't have to dox yourself, but you're in high school. Is that correct?
Yeah, ninth grade.
Oh, wow.
Ah, I thought he was in middle school. Well, he was up until a little while.
Wow, so you are a very young man. Okay, yeah. Alex is looking at me very funny. I didn't know that this is like having Matan on. Okay, wow. So how old would that make you? 15 years old, I hope?
Around like 14. I turned 15 March 11th.
Dude, he got you, bro.
Well, I thought you're saying very adult stuff on the internet, Nathaniel. You have a very adult vocabulary. Where did you learn that vocabulary?
Actually, my dad.
Yo, me too, bro. Me too.
Yeah, when my dad was living with me longer, I'd watch him stream and stuff like that, and I've been on the internet since like age 5.5 maybe. He's taught me a lot of stuff about the internet. He's taught me about how to use it correctly, how to like do research, how to have fun researching stuff, and I've just learned everything I know today from him, and I kept learning.
Yeah,
See, if I was Nate's dad, right? If I was Destiny, I would do everything in my power to keep my little man away from my son would be touching grass 24/7. I would be paying for like the best coaches to like make him a boxing superstar or a track star. I would like send him on trips to go camping and shit. We would be camping at like national parks or whatever the fuck. I would do everything I could to make sure he wouldn't even like know what the internet is, right? Every video game I would buy for him would be a single player game. No multiplayer games allowed. I don't even want you talking to people over the internet. That's what I would do. Because Destiny knows the type of audience he has, the type of enemies he has, the type of people, like the type of commentary that his type of content attracts. So I would never want my son anywhere near the internet, let alone teaching him how to navigate it and shit.
Your dad's very good at the internet. He's a very smart guy. I would never ever say.
Trad dad 100%. If I was in Destiny's shoes, I would be fucking Amish, nigga. I would whatever denomination the Amish are, I would convert to that, and I would move there. And I'd be the only black nigga there with my son. Just raise it up. We wouldn't know what technology is. Only come in town to vote in an election or get some McDonald's. And our little buggies or whatever. Our little horse-drawn carriages.
Destiny's not smart.
But your views are so radically different, as are mine from my father's. Like, I'm not a Trump guy. Like, I ditched that after 24, after I saw what happened. And, like, Alex tap dances. He loves it. So, like, for you, I've seen your views are more extreme than mine by far, 100%, but they're even more extremely further apart than Destiny. So how does that work? How does that go down?
Me and my dad don't really talk about like politics and too much privately. I mean, sometimes I'll make a joke about it, but we've never really argued about that stuff.
Okay.
Usually whenever I visit him and whatever, we chill, we have fun. We don't really talk about politics all too much, and I don't think that's a bad thing.
No,
I
that's
think
a
it's
good
nice
thing.
that,
That's
like,
a great
when
thing. I wish it was like that for me, let me tell you.
Why, your dad was just yelling at you about George Bush and his Tower 7?
It was
Tower 7!
It's worse at the dining table, let me tell you. It depends, it could be better from your context, and I've enjoyed a number of the rants over the years. He is the best, and I love him, and I watch the show all the time. I'm a huge fan. But at the same time, like, that stuff did get taken.
Why is Alex's son bald? Genetics, you know. I mean, he looks just like him minus the facial hair. Right? His mom's genetics, I guess they just didn't even try. That happened. That's the same thing with like Ethan Ralph's kid, right? Like Ethan Ralph has been in like this huge drama with his baby mama's, I'm going to say her dad, but really their whole family. Just like the whole Vickers clan has been at war with Ralph for almost half a decade. And I have to wonder if how much of the fury from the Vickers father, like his baby mama's dad in particular, comes from the fact that Ethan Ralph's kid, Xander, looks exactly like him. Like the spitting image of him. And their genetics didn't even try. The Vickers bloodline didn't stand a chance against that Ralphicide. It got one-shotted. Some Mike Tyson type shit in the womb.
Home.
It overlaps.
What you see on the show, and everyone always goes, he's method acting, he's a character actor, whatever. He tones himself down on the show. Trust me.
Wow, that's a. What about your dad? Well, how is your dad different on stream than when he's off stream?
He's kind of the same. If you met up with him in real life, you'd probably see it. He's not too different.
Destiny's kid, Nate looks just like his dad too. So I'm really convinced that lolcows just have superior genetics, at least when it comes to breeding. I feel like if you have a baby with a lolcow, the lolcow side of the family, their genes are going to be dominant. I really believe that. I believe if Chris Chan had a baby, if he got a woman pregnant, the baby is just going to look just like Chris Chan. If Phil had a kid, he'd have a kid that looked just like... Lolcow genetics are not to be underestimated.
He's more relaxed, chill, more personal when like he's off stream. But a funny example, one time I was watching Vosh when I met up with him, kind of as a joke, and he like instantly started debating Vosh like through the screen, basically, telling me that Vosh was wrong about everything.
That's a mental illness, by the way. Like immediately, like the need to debate everything, regardless of the scenario, even when you have your kid around, that is mental illness. Don't say such awful things, Mikey. I could pray for a Chris Chan kid. Hey, it's real. It's real. I don't know why. I don't know why. So Xander and Rosie are doomed to suffer the Gunt curse. Will they build a church on that land? Well, I mean, as we can see with Nate here, you don't necessarily turn out, just because you look just like your dad, doesn't mean you're going to turn out just like your dad.
Debate with your dad? Could you debate?
That's honestly cool.
That is cool, but I'm saying, like, do you debate with your dad not political stuff? Like, if you want to go out or you want to go hang out with your friend, are you, like, debating your dad to, like, get permission to do stuff?
Not really, no. He's not really, like, too strict about anything I do, really. I've never really argued with him. Especially when I lived with him. I loved always coming over and stuff like that, so we never really argued.
Well, it sounds like your dad's a pretty chill dad. I mean,
yeah, it sounds like
cool.
Destiny's a good dad.
It sounds like he's a pretty good guy. Good for Destiny.
Glad to hear it.
I am.
He's a good dad when he's around. So we're going to skip over to them talking about Nick Fuentes, because there's this strange thing about Nate, in that he says he's not a groiper, but I feel like the guy is he's a little intimidated by him. He's a little intimidated by Nick Fuentes and the Groipers. And he doesn't want to say things that are necessarily critical of Nick, because he's afraid of how the Groipers are going to come down. They're going to come down hard on him, which they would. The Groipers do not take dissent very well. To be fair, none of these like wing cuck, super politically fringe groups take dissent from people who used to be part of the group very well. But Groipers especially, that's some cult type shit. They will try and ruin your life. They still go after Jaden. I don't know, they kind of left Patrick Casey alone. I always wondered what that was about. Maybe he just doesn't talk about it.
Conservative. I see you like Nick Fuentes a lot, so are you a big Nick Fuentes fan?
It's complicated. I don't agree with him on everything like other groupers do, but
Other groupers, are you insinuating that you're... So you're a groiper, is that what you're saying?
I could be considered one.
Wow, this is big news. This is, I mean, good for the groiper movement. They caught a big fish, Destiny Bonnell. I mean, dude, you're like number 2 in charge to Nick right now. I mean that.
Nick is the best broadcaster in the game. No one is as good as him. No one can do a better 3-hour rant.
I'm telling you.
Nigga, what? What, dude? Okay. All right. I don't know a whole lot about Rex Jones here, but brother, you just dropped a whole lot of like my consideration of your character, or at least like your opinion of other people's ability, right? Because okay, I won't deny he has good clips, right? Don't let the clips fool you though, because this is the problem. Because Nick does have some of the best clippers in the game. His groipers, the groipers don't realize that there's not really a movement anymore. It's just Nick doing whatever the fuck he wants, and they're all just unpaid interns for him, basically. So Nick has all these dudes who just clip his shit for basically nothing, right? He doesn't like pay them or give them anything. Right? They just do whatever the fuck just because they worship the ground he walks on. And they do clip some good shit. But just because somebody has good clips, just because somebody will have like a good 5, 10, 15, maybe even 20-minute segment out of a 3 to 4 hour show, doesn't mean the whole 3 to 4 hour show was great, right? I can tell you that as somebody who has watched an extensive amount of Fuentes content while I was making my documentary about him, Nick ain't like, he is a very good speaker. He ain't that good, right? I honestly think that Umar is a better speaker than Nick Fuentes, because Nick will actually try and like talk about something. He'll try and talk about politics. He'll try and talk about culture war shit, or he'll just rant about women, about how having a wife is gay, about his political enemies, about how nobody is helping him enough, even though he just bites people's ankles in their backs, and he just burns bridges. He'll do stuff like that. Umar will like do a 2, 3, 4 hour speech live stream about absolutely fucking nothing, right? And he'll have high energy all throughout. It's amazing. I think he really is one of the best speakers. It's a shame that he's a complete fucking charlatan, because dude, he would put MLK to shame if he was actually even like halfway serious about any of this shit.
The guy's a good communicator, and I understand why the young people like him. And I go to college campuses, a lot of people, young and old, like Nick, so I can understand. But the fact that you're a groiper is very interesting, because your dad and Nick were actually pretty good friends. I don't know how they are now, but they were actually very friendly for a long time. So I don't think he would be that mad that you're a groiper. Is he mad that you're a groiper? Does he know that you're a groiper?
Kinda. He thinks I'm being really edgy, but he thinks it's just a phase. He's not like mad at me for it. He thinks I'm probably gonna grow out of it someday. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But
it's like the liberal version of your kid going trans.
Yeah, no, it's not that bad. See, and I have to say this too.
Am I telling Giga Todd Howard, are you telling me Ye will never be president? No, I'm not telling you that, because it's actually not off the table. I am not unconvinced that Kanye could become president. There's a timeline. Like, I've realized in like the last 10 to 15 years, Clown World is real. That thing I said at the beginning of my Nick Fuentes doc, I believe that. Clown World has gotten realer, and I believe we're just 2 to 3 degrees of Clown World away for a presidential Ye timeline to be a realistic possibility. It's possible.
You seem like you're a healthy young
We're not there yet, but we could get there. You never know.
It's a lot different if you're like 200 pounds and you look like a morbidly obese torta or something. But you look like a healthy young man, and it seems like
you're trust the plan. Kanye can still be president.
And I think you should. I don't always take my advice, but I think that if you lean into being more conservative, and your dad's one of the biggest left-leaning voices, I think that will make you successful, because people always kind of go to you to counter signal your dad. So.
Cover what you love, man.
Yeah.
Like,
This is what I'm talking about with the grooming shit. And it's like, yeah, man, you should definitely become a conservative pundit, just so you can use your connection to your father to like push your shit, right? See, this is Alex Stein's. This is his mentality, because all he knows how to do is just like use the connections he has from his family as leverage, because he doesn't have like actual talent. He couldn't imagine just doing shit on the virtue of your own ability, right? That's beyond him. It's like, I'm not saying that if Nate really feels like he wants to be a conservative influencer, that's whatever. But doing it just to spite your father and just so you can use like your connection to your father to boost your shit, that is very gay.
A supplement guy because
that's a very gay suggestion.
And I got into the science of it. Like, cover what you love, talk about what you love, and if you do that, you never have to work a day in your life.
When 200 pounds, people in the chat are getting mad. 200 pounds is not that big, but you know what I mean. I'm saying for a 14-year-old, 200 pounds would be kind of big.
How tall are you?
200 pounds is that big.
5'5".
So, do you play any sports, or are you just you're just kind of a?
I'm not fat shaming, but 200 pounds. If you ain't tall and in the gym, that is pretty big. I'm sorry. 200 pounds, you better have some muscle or some height on you, right? You ain't got no business being 200 pounds if you're like below 6 feet and you aren't going to the gym. No offense to anybody in the chat who I'm talking about. I'm just saying that is pretty big.
The baby debater.
It's not humongous, but
I've also done soccer, baseball, basketball.
Yeah, football, you're gonna get CTE. We need to keep your brain sharp. I don't want you to hurt.
Dude, after the show, me and Alex are just gonna bang our heads together.
Yeah, we do
some
that.
therapy, some cranial.
We're like mooses in the wilderness. We're gonna get our horns locked. Okay, Nathaniel, before we.
Hold on. What are Alex Stein's family connections? Well, how about this? Do not Google Betty Stein school shooting. Don't do that. Don't go to Google, right? Don't open up another tab on your computer, on your phone, and type in Betty Stein school shooter. You absolutely should not do that. That person, and if you do that, that person, zero connection to Alex over here. Zero.
Go though, how can people find you and support you? The chat's loving you. Everybody's saying Nathaniel's the coolest. But how can people on Twitter and everywhere else support you?
And they're just plugging this shit now. Okay, so now, so we just got through that. So as we saw with the Vegan Gains versus Nate debate, it really shouldn't be that hard to beat a 14-year-old in an internet debate. It really shouldn't be, especially if you consider yourself an expert on the subject matter. You should really be dribbling this little nigga's head off the concrete for real if you're really that good, or if you're like semi-competent and you're an adult. But as we're going to see, there are levels to this shit, and Drew Pavlo might actually be below the ground. So a little thing about Drew Pavlo before we get into it. Drew, he's an Aussie, he's an Australian. He's somebody who's gotten into a lot of trouble. He claims it's solely because he goes so hard against the Chinese government. Well, really, you look into this shit, it's like, there was one time when he was he said he was protesting against the Chinese government, and he ended up getting, I don't know, arrested or whatever, and charged for the crime of protesting in Australia, because Australia is becoming a less free country, at least when it comes to China. In reality, he was doing like a political campaign because like he ran for office once, and he just happened to forget to get a permit while he was campaigning in a certain area that you need a permit to campaign in. So he got charged for that. It's little stuff like that. I wouldn't necessarily call Drew Pavlo outright lolcow. I would say he's a pseudo cow, right? Pseudo lolcow adjacent. He's one or two good arcs from like being there for real, but he's not a serious person in general. He's not a serious person. Don't let this, hold on. There's something that a lot of pseudo intellectual niggas like to do on the internet, especially the dudes who talk a lot about politics and whatnot, is that they like to have the big library behind them, right? You know that I'm a serious intellectual because I got this big library behind me. And you know I've read every book I got on these shelves at least twice, maybe even 3 times, because I'm a big-brained intellectual. Now, Drew Pavlo, there's no way he's read all these books, because Nate's gonna kind of he's gonna mog him a little bit. I won't say it was an absolute ass beating, but I will say that Nate's gonna be the guy who takes the W here, right? Drew also lives with his parents, and his dad, There's a clip. Shit, I should have had it on deck. Fuck, maybe I can still look for it. There is a clip where his dad basically just like yells at him for being a loser who spends all his time on the internet talking about stupid political shit and like not getting a job and moving out of his house, right? So that's who Drew Pavlo is. So how do you cope with Nick exponential growth among normies and being mentioned from mainstream figures like Tucker and Eric Weinstein? What do you mean by that, Hanad? What do you mean exponential growth? Like, Nick's not even at the peak that he used to be. Nick legit used to be one of the up-and-coming top guys of the GOP at his peak back in the years. He's still not at that level yet, right? He's still like not there yet. So you like say exponential growth. Nick is going through his like biannual rebound phase. Like every couple months to maybe a year or so, Nick will start going on, he'll come on a comeback tour, right? And it'll look like he's about to make it. It'll look like he's about to break into the mainstream and finally become the top dude, the next golden boy of the conservatives that everybody thought he was going to be as soon as he graduated from university like a decade ago. And then something happens abruptly that just like, it's just like Icarus flying too close to the sun. His wax wings just get melted and he ends up crashing back down to earth, falling into Tartarus or whatever the fuck, right? So Nick growing, I mean, that's whatever. He's going to do something, right? He's going to burn it all down again. Nick has been on the verge of breaking into the mainstream at least 3 or 4 times across the past decade. And every time he came back because some shit that was his, well, there's that one time that was just Milo fucking with him, right? Milo is responsible for at least one of those burnouts. But most of the time, it's just been him. But, you know, maybe he actually won't fuck it up. Maybe he actually will make that big comeback. I doubt it, though, because I know the character of Nick Fuentes, and that's not how he gets down. He can't help himself. I saw the Big Bungie video dogging on Drew. I actually haven't seen that video. I should go and watch that. We could watch that on stream one day. How about that? Right? I might watch that. Everything I know from Drew, I've known from like personal research. So that's great. See, that's how you know that this dude is so lolcow adjacent. He's on the cusp. Because you can have separate people who don't even communicate with each other just come to the same conclusion about this nigga from like our own personal research about him.
Steve,
anyway.
I was worried that you weren't going to join, man.
Yeah, a bunch of stuff was going on.
Nah, okay. Thanks for joining. Everything okay?
Yeah, I needed to get a bunch of stuff done, and then also like the audio and stuff.
Nah, okay. Thanks for joining. So, listen, man, I don't want to debate, bro, or attack you harshly. You're a young guy, so I want to just try and talk respect.
See, Drew comes into this. He comes into this so soft, right? He thinks that, because he thinks this is going to be an easy W. He thinks I'm just going to come in here, and he thinks it's going to be like what Vegan Gaines did with Nathaniel, where he just dog walked him. It's like he just took Nathaniel's hand, and he just like walked him through, just pointed at the end, you know, stuff like that. Like, it's going to be... I can't go too hard on this kid because honestly, I'm gonna destroy him easily.
And listen, I'm a fan of your dad, so I don't want to have like a vicious debate or anything, but I do want to talk to you about your views because you've said that you're a Nazi. You've said that you endorse Adolf Hitler, and look, these are pretty morally horrible views.
I love how he just says, yeah, like he doesn't even try to deny it. Like, yeah, I might have said that. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I might have said that Hitler's kind of cool. Yeah.
In my view, like you know, this man was responsible for arguably the worst genocide in human history, the mass murder of millions upon millions of people.
Smirking.
And even setting aside the mass murder of innocents, I mean, he literally destroyed Europe. He destroyed Germany. So I want to ask you about these views. Where did they come from? Why do you call yourself a Nazi?
Well, I've done plenty of research. I keep doing research. I'm actually reading a lot of books now about this topic, kind of.
Okay, so the grooming by the Groypers is now like fully underway. They're giving him a reading list. He has a curriculum now. He's reading the literature. They got him. They got him on that Groyper approved curriculum. He's gonna be an alumni of the America First University, and he's gonna tell us all about how 6 million, yeah, didn't happen. Maybe 100,000. Even then, gas chambers, nah.
Could you tell us what are you reading for your research? What books are you reading on this?
It's not even the Holocaust denial that bothers me the most. It's the fact that he's getting it from like the Groypers. Look, dude, there are higher quality sources to get your Holocaust denial from than Nick Fuentes and America First, right? Because Nick Fuentes, the reason why he started believing all the shit he did about Jews, a lot of it was he watched some shitty documentary and he just started listening to schizo rants by Kanye and Candace Owens, who he disavows now. He disavows Candace Owens. I'm actually thinking everybody is saying, because, you know, all of Nick's old buddies are talking about how Charlie Kirk's death had something to do with Israel. And the only reason why he's not just outright saying the Jews did this, like he says the Jews did everything, is because all the other dissident right dudes he burned bridges with are saying it. And he just wants to counter signal them out of spite. That's all I think. Because otherwise, he basically agreed. I was actually really surprised when I watched Nick's take on like Charlie Kirk's wife eulogy, and it was damn near identical to Review Tech USA's. I don't know.
Yeah, I actually have a bunch of notes. I can pull up those books. The book I'm reading right now, ironically, is Mein Kampf.
I might actually... Wait, what?
I have a bunch of notes. I can pull up those books. The book I'm reading right now, ironically, is Mein Kampf. I'm trying to understand psychology of Hitler around the time before he was kind of who he is known as today.
Mein Kampf is actually an interesting book. You actually should read it. It's very... I don't know. You should always take advantage to look into like books that give you. It gives you the insight into a very, very. It's a crazy person, right? A crazy ass nigga. That's what Hitler basically was, right? You read enough history books about World War II and biographies about Hitler, you basically come to the conclusion he was a charismatic, ambitious, surprisingly competent, crazy ass motherfucker. And books like Mein Kampf that give you insight into characters like that, you should take advantage and actually read them if you can. You should read every book by every dictator, really.
So one of the books I'm reading is about, it's kind of about banking lobbying, but more specifically about nationalism, where it came from. It's Balkan nationalism in the 19th century, exposing the roots of identity and conflict. It's not really a book. It's more of an article.
Okay. Well, I just want to know, like, where did this political path come from, though, right? Because obviously your dad is like quite a famous liberal. I want to know, like, so how did you go down this path of? I think it was about Nick Fuentes and stuff like that. What led you to those views?
I opened my mind up. I had more conversations with people on the alt-right and the far-right. And that's kind of it. I started watching and consuming more alt-right content too.
Okay, so you've consumed this alt-right content. I'm interested. So I remember, Destiny, you went to the Holocaust Museum with him.
Mm-hmm.
Did that have any influence on your views?
No, not really.
Why is that? I'm interested.
I didn't pay too much attention to the memorial. I looked around, of course, some of the stuff there. It was sad, but I was kind of critical of a lot of the stuff I saw there, especially one of the doors for the supposed gas chamber. Yes, it was wooden, and yes, it had handles. That kind of clicked in my mind. I thought that was kind of strange, and then as I explored more of the memorial, that kind of solidified my opinions in a way.
So you actually say that going to the Holocaust Museum in Washington D.C. made you less trusting of historical evidence about the Holocaust.
Mm-hmm.
Could you explain that a bit further?
Right. So number one, the shoes. I was very critical of like the shoe exhibit. All the shoes in like the shoe part of the museum, they had like a little plaque next to it explaining the story behind it. I thought that was strange. I don't believe the story behind the shoe thing. I think it's much more simple than what they're trying to lead on. And then also the shoes, they don't actually look real, and it's not like, well, they look like real shoes. I just don't think they're specifically from each camp or anything like that. And then also the photos. There's a corridor you can go down, 2 walls, huge. There's a bottom level and then also another top level. I was in the middle level. There were a bunch of pictures on every wall. A lot of the pictures looked kind of strange. They didn't look natural. Some of the pictures were real because from when I was like 11 researching the Holocaust, I seen some of those pictures and yeah, they are real pictures. Some of the pictures.
Like he got it all memorized, bro. Like he's got it down to a set. You could tell he's been reading that lit. He's been reading that alt-right lit, dude. Every little bit. So we're gonna fast forward a little bit.
And then also, there were killings of Jews. There were Nazi death squads that specifically targeted just prisoners in concentration camps. I know that happened.
So, I just want to clarify. So, if you said earlier you're reading Mein Kampf. In Mein Kampf, there are hundreds of pages that Hitler devotes to expressing his hatred towards Jews, how he wants the Jews to be pushed out of Europe, etc. He sees the Jews as basically this existential pestilence. So you would be quite obviously you would understand quite obviously Hitler hated the Jews, but you don't believe he persecuted the Jews.
Crazy timing. Anyway, he's just like, I don't know. He keeps asking him questions about how he feels about Jews. Like he already told you he doesn't like believe the Holocaust, or at least he doesn't believe that it went down the way that the popular story is that it went down, right? So like, what else do you expect him to say about that, Drew?
Going back to your point, you say that the persecution is justified because of this racial hatred. I just want to ask, why is it justified to persecute millions of people? I mean, where you say that you agree with the persecution, but that there was not mass killings. What do you think actually happened then?
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna explain this again. Jews had influence in Germany.
Like he's getting tired. Like, let me explain this again. Like, look at the tone that he says that.
What do you think actually happened?
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna explain this again.
Like, let me explain this again, because you didn't fucking listen to me the first time. The first 3 times I explained to you about how I don't think this shit is real. Let me explain it to you for the 4th or 5th time, Drew. Like, he's getting tired of it. Like, he wasn't You're gonna see this when we get to, like, the next thing, how he says that this was his easiest W ever in any of these debates. He says that Drew was his easiest W.
Jews had influence in Germany, they had influence in German politics, and they had influence in German banking. They had control over a lot of German banks and news, as they did in the U.S. So they did technically have some power in economic collapse of Germany after World War I and at the end of World War I. And again, you said I disagree with mass killings. I never said that I don't think mass killings happened. I said explicitly, yes, there were mass killings. But when it comes to the Holocaust, I do not think it was a mass industrial Holocaust. I don't think Germany was fully industrialized to exterminate the Jewish people. That's just not true. That's not something that happened. Germany did not change its entire industrial pathway to exterminate Jewish people. They did not convert...
Well, this is where you're wrong, Nathan, because really, even at the height of the war on the Eastern Front, the Germans were utilizing and removing a significant amount of rail stock for the transportation of Jews to death camps. So even at the height of the war, a significant amount of the German industrial capacity, the railroad capacity, was actually diverted to the mass killings of Jews, and the use of Jewish slave labor was a massive part of the German industrial effort during World War II. If you read Adam Tooze's book, The Wages of Destruction, you can see that it's actually impossible for major parts of German industry to operate without the use of slave labor by both Jewish and also just people all across Eastern Europe. There were millions of people who were inducted as slave laborers.
Okay, so number one, a lot more railroads to concentration camps, supply trains, stuff like that, transportations of Jewish people from camp to camp were bombed by the Allies during World War II. This is known. This is documented pretty well. And second fact, slave labor does not always mean genocide, okay? There are so many other countries that were also using slave labor that weren't trying to genocide those people. Now, I don't get why you think slave labor would equal genocide when it comes to this case, because if they're using all of these people to continue their industrial output, to continue output of products for soldiers to use in the Eastern Front, they wouldn't be also genociding these people. They wouldn't be killing the people.
And they just go back and forth on this end. Right? So anyway, he starts getting a little heated.
What about the Jews in North Africa? Millions of Jewish men into...
So when I first started watching this video, I got pretty disappointed because I didn't expect it to just be about Jews. And I don't think he expected it either, right?
banned it, they still used it. You can say like
they spent a massive amount.
There's still people that are gonna do it. They're like, go search it up right now. British slave labor during like World War II in Kenya. Search up the British squatter program in Kenya. How about you do that?
There's no comparison to the industrial scale level of slavery.
Okay, so now we're gonna say there's no comparison when I've already proved that there are examples of this. Yes, there is comparison. They're doing the only difference is that Jews are being targeted by the Nazis and black people are being targeted by British and French.
Nathan.
He really is Destiny's son.
It wasn't just Jews. They also took.
You can hear it when he gets angry during a debate. You can hear You can hear the Stephen Bono come out of it. You can hear it.
Millions of Poles. They took millions of people all across Eastern Europe, and they.
I don't care who they took. The fact is that both of these people are taking people and using them for slave labor. I'm not saying this is right, but to say that the British are genociding Africans, but the Nazis are genociding Jews because they have to do some hard labor it's dumb and it's an oversimplification of history.
You're basically saying that slavery, forcing millions of Jewish men into slavery and stuff like that during World War II, and then working many of them to death, is just Jews being forced to do a bit of hard labor.
I mean, to an extent, yes. There was a racial biased picking of these people, sure, but to be fair, every other country was doing this. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying
there's no comparison. There's no comparison to the.
Well, how is there no comparison? Tell me, how many Africans were worked to death by the British?
Nate's mom's genetics didn't even try. Like Destiny's genetics, they won the external and the internal war, right?
The Nazis killed more than 10 million people in the whole. If you consider not just the Jews who were killed, but also the millions of Poles who were killed, the millions of Soviet prisoners of war who were starved to death, the millions of people. Like they had a plan, for example, to starve like 80 million people.
Can we find an order for this?
We actually can. So this is why I did my reading prior to this debate. So
source?
Example,
can you give me a source?
Goebbels' diaries. Let's go to Goebbels' diaries.
Okay.
Hitler's remark on 19 March 1942: "The Jews must get out of Europe. If need be, we must resort to the most brutal methods."
Okay. Hold on. Stop it. I have something to say about that. Now, I think honestly, the Jews had multiple opportunities to leave Germany before World War II happened. The Jewish lives, like the amount of Jews killed in the Holocaust, I partly blame that on the Allies, okay? Before the Holocaust was even considered and to be like a thing, like at all, by anyone is... Before then, the Jews had multiple warnings saying, hey, we don't want you in this country, how about you get out now? And then the Jews that still stayed after those warnings, they were...
You were familiar with the fact that they were expropriating Jewish property and doing this. They actually forced many Jews to pay basically an exit tax to leave. So how can you actually say, oh, they had multiple opportunities to leave? And also the Polish Jews never had any opportunity to leave. What about the Jews in North Africa, the Jews in France, all these Jewish groups across all of Europe who had not, they had no opportunity to leave. They were just living in countries that were invaded by Nazis and then were occupied by Nazis.
Okay, now here's why I blame it on the Allies. Because Great Britain and France, they had no reason to declare war on Germany. They declared war knowing the politicians, like Churchill, he declared war. No, not Churchill. The prime minister before Churchill, he's the one that declared war on Germany, I believe.
I wonder if Ben Shapiro's son sounds like him. Well, this is a Ben Shapiro W, really, because I don't know who the fuck Ben Shapiro's son is. I've never seen him. I've never heard from him. I never hear Ben talk about him outside of talking about his family in general. That's a W for Shapiro, keeping his family and personal life away from the fucking internet.
Because Nazi Germany invaded Poland.
Yep, and I can name two pacts that they had before World War II. They had two non-aggression treaties. 1921 was Poland. No, 1925
France and Germany
was a non-aggression pact.
France and Britain were allied to the Poles. They told
non-aggression pact, non-alliance.
Okay, Nazis.
Why does Drew care about this? That's a very good question. Why does Drew care about this enough to argue with a fucking 14-year-old about how real the Holocaust was and how justified Hitler was in his invasions of all these European countries? Why do you care? What's gonna change, right? Well, the obvious answer is content. The second answer is, again, everybody is trying to take their turn, trying to groom Destiny's son into their ideology, right? And right now, they're winning, right? Like, the Groypers are the ones who are winning. And Drew was like, if I can just beat him with enough facts and logic, he'll stop being a Nazi or whatever. It's very dumb.
Germany, I'd say Britain and France do what they did with the Kindertransport and the Allied transportations from Belgium and then also the Netherlands to get Jews and other persecuted people out of Germany. They could have also done that with Poland, and I'm pretty sure they somewhat considered it, but Britain didn't want to accept because the space inside of Britain was starting to become crowded with a bunch of orphan Jewish kids and then other people that were being persecuted by the Nazis. You couldn't take in enough people, or maybe they didn't want to. But like if they like really cared about these people, Poland would try reaching out to other countries.
Anyway, so here's what this is, right? So right here, Drew was getting his ass beat so bad. Like, Nate was just dragging this nigga. that he had to call in a second guy. They had to 2v1 this 14-year-old this debate about whether the Holocaust was real. I've never seen anything like this before. This is so embarrassing. This is such a bad look for Drew. He had to call in reinforcements to take on Destiny's son.
Any ethnic lines, but because they just wanted to take the land. And if Germany can do that, and you're saying they're justified in doing that, why can't Britain do the same thing to Germany?
Okay, Britain is... Also, hold on 1 second. Drew, nice 3v1 for a 14-year-old.
I'll leave in a second. I'll leave in a second. I just wanted to ask no, hang on. 1 second. If you want, you can bring in another person if you want, Nathan. I'm happy to.
Well, to answer your question...
Anyone in the chat, I just want to say, anyone in the chat who wants to join Nathan's side, I'm happy for them to join. Because I don't want people to say, oh, it's a 2v1 against 14-year-old. Anybody in the chat who Nathan wants to add, I'm happy to add them to the call. I mean, I just wanted to ask this specific thing about why is Germany justified in doing all this? But
ethno-statism. Sorry to cut you off. But basically, ethno-statism was a much more common practice around that time. Germany had ethnic claims to Poland. They wanted...
but they didn't have ethnic claims to all of Poland. And
not all of Poland.
Yeah, but then they invaded half of Poland where they didn't have ethnic claims, and then they invaded the rest of Poland.
They had ethnic claims in half of Poland. Because
no, they didn't. They only had claims in the west. These alleged killings that you're talking about of ethnic Germans, they were only happening in western Poland, not all the way up to the parts where they invaded with the Soviet Union.
I would add Nick if he's around. Just like he wants somebody, just please, just tag somebody in because people are going to say I'm trying to bully a 14. People are saying I couldn't beat a 14-year-old in a debate and I had to call backup. This is exactly what happened. This is literally what happened. Drew Pavlo was losing. Drew Pavlo in a debate about whether or not the Holocaust was real was losing so badly to this 14-year-old. That he had to call in another nigga to help. Never forget. Never let Drew Pavlo live that down. Just terrible. Bro he got whipped. He got whipped, dude. He said this. He said that was as easy as W. That's what Nate said. So, all right. So we're going to do something a little bit more, I don't know, less super serious, right? We're going to go to Jesse, Pod Awful mentioned, because Jesse also had Nate on his show. Now, what separates Jesse from Drew, from Alex Stein, from Vegan Games, is that one, he's one of those guys who doesn't take this internet shit that serious. This is the thing about Jesse, because people, like, they know of Jesse or a little bit, and they just think he's this weird internet creature, which he kind of is. But that's only when he's online. Offline, Jesse has a family. He has a wife, he has kids, and he has a house, right? So when he's offline, he's just touching grass and basically living the American dream, which is just like 2.5 kids, a wife, a house, and a picket fence. That's basically the life that Jesse lives when he's not streaming or doing his podcast. Now, Jesse's been doing this internet podcast shit for a while. He's done some wild shit. He's a weird internet guy, kind of like Destiny is. So part of bringing Nate onto his show, aside from content, is just he's he wants to pick his brain because he's curious, will this happen to my children? Are my children in danger of becoming like this? Like just groomed by other weirdos on the internet just because I was like doing too much goofy shit on the internet for too long? How can I stop? How can I stop this from happening to one of my sons? Is Jesse's concern. Yes, Pod Awful I know everybody doesn't believe it. Pod Awful has a wife and kids in a house, but see, he doesn't like, I don't know, he just like lives his regular life when he turns off the camera. A lot of dudes don't do that, right? Ethan Ralph, when he turns off the camera, he ain't living no regular life, right? He's still online. He still browses the Kiwi Farms. He logged into the Kiwi Farms for the first time in like half a decade just a couple months ago. So he's always like, he's monitoring everything. All these dudes who say I'm not online, like, you know, Ralph, King of Pole, Nick Fawet, like they're always online. Jesse actually isn't one of those people. So we're going to get into this and hold on. Did I not take any notes? Where are my notes? Fuck. Well, fuck it. We'll just wing it then. I lost my notes. We'll just wing it. It's fine. It's a little short thing anyway.
Hello?
What's up, man? You hear me?
Yeah, I hear you fine.
All right, awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Nathaniel. What is your Twitter account again? What's your handle?
I have no clue. I just put something.
Just so you can see what's happening on the show here, but you don't have to have a camera. You're fine.
Let me open it
I
up.
legitimately thought your account was fake. I thought like you were like a parody account. People kept retweeting you because obviously, you know, your dad is very famous. He's got a certain way of talking and thinking, and you're saying a lot of other kinds of stuff. What is your relationship with your dad? Like, is it all just a joke? How close are you guys?
Also, this is one of the most revealing interviews that Nate has done with somebody, because again, he's a weird internet guy. He is Jesse, but he's also like a genuinely concerned father. Like, see, like a disturbed young man who his father is an e-celeb who gets up to a lot of nonsense. He's just curious. He wants to pick his brain. He wants to see what's going on in that noggin of yours, and how can I stop this from happening to, can you call what Ralph does living? I mean, he's surprisingly not dead yet, which is something. I really didn't think. There are so many people who have died in like the last 3 to 5 years who I didn't expect Ethan Ralph to live past, but he did it. I don't know. You can say what you want, especially with all that those pills and all that alcohol, and the fact that he was morbidly obese for so long. He only recently started losing the weight. So I'll tell you this about Ralph. That motherfucker, he's got those infinite pig genes that DSP got. They're just gonna outlive all of us somehow.
We're pretty close. I message him pretty often, and he responds as soon as he can.
Again, message. Interact means message to Nate, not talk to, not even necessarily called him or FaceTimed him. Just we exchanged some DMs. That's interacting.
Sometimes he's streaming, but he'll still respond most of the time.
Now, you say you message him often, but how often do you actually get to see him in like real life, you know?
I sometimes visit him like 2 times, once or twice a year for like 2 or 3 months, and then I come back to Nebraska.
Okay, so, but you do, I mean, you're a pretty big troll of your dad. I mean,
Again, this was done, Jesse had this interview with him in this August, recently, like very recently. So this is still the state of the relationship between Nate and his dad.
Nathaniel logo, the name Autonomy, which is very funny, the NGGers, your official space for NGGers, the Mr. Borelli Cash App. I mean, obviously you get a little bit of a kick out of making fun of your dad. What is is that actually mean-spirited, or is it all in good fun?
Yeah, it's all fun. It's all jokes. I don't hate him.
That's good, man. That's good. I would hate it if you did hate, even though your dad sucked. He's like, but he's, you know, I'm glad that he's good for you as a dad. Does he send you a lot of money?
Sometimes I don't really ask for too much from him.
That's nice. That's good. Now, what about this time when he said that he told you that he would have aborted you? He said he tells you he would abort you. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think he said that to me when I was younger. I didn't think much of it. I was young. Right. I barely knew what abortion was, but I thought it was funny he tell me that.
Okay.
Because,
you thought do you mind?
See, here's the thing. Here's something about raising kids. You know, it's coming from a nigga who doesn't have kids, by the way. But this is something like, feel this is general advice that anybody who just has kids is having. It's not that children have sensitive minds. It's that they have malleable minds, right? It's not that a kid experiencing or witnessing or hearing something is going to break their mind. It's that it's going to shape their mind into something that might not be that great a couple years from now, right? So you have to be careful what you pour into a child's brain, not necessarily because like their mind is gonna fucking crack or crumble or whatever, but because you might end up making a monster by mistake, like unintentionally, right? Because, I don't know, raising a child isn't like harvesting. It's easier to like be a farmer than to raise a child, because all you have to really worry about is the weather and maybe like some pests. But when it comes to raising a kid, everybody has like a different recipe. It's not like baking a cake where you put something in, you'll get the same thing out just about every time. You put certain things into a kid, you can get wildly different results. Some kids will just shake some shit off. Some other kids will hang on to that. And that'll fuck them up in ways you didn't even envision like 10, 15, 20 years from then. So Destiny obviously doesn't give a fuck. So yeah, you'll just say some shit like, yeah, I wanted to abort you, but I love you now. You'll just say that. You know, I think that's funny. But Nate, when he first hear that, think that funny. And does he, now when he's 14, does he still think it's funny, or does it like hit different now? These are the things you gotta think about when you're raising a kid.
Mind if I play the clip here so people know what I'm talking about?
Oh, he had the clip too. Jesse has the
my
clip
sister's
too.
pregnant, so we had a conversation, and I can't have an abortion if I'm pro-life because I feel like a hypocrite.
Do you feel like if your son would hear this, that would affect him?
No, I tell it to him. What do you mean?
You told your 12-year-old son.
Yeah, super frank. But he knows me and his mom are split up. It's not like we chose that arrangement, like we want to be split or whatever. But like I still love
How
my
do you
kid.
think that affects your child?
It doesn't. He knows I love him. We hang out. We have fun. Like I talk to him. I love him. But like I'm not gonna say
I love you
lied to
now,
him.
but I could have killed you if I would.
Before he existed.
Would you be mad if your dad aborted you?
You know, that's an interesting question. I don't think I'd have many emotions if he did kill me, because I think I'd be too dead.
It's an interesting question.
These fucking women don't seem to understand. I kind of agree with your dad a little bit. I mean, I wouldn't tell Mike. You know, I've got sons, and the whole reason I wanted to talk to you for this Father's Day episode is, you know, I've been doing internet stuff for a long time.
Oh, it was Father's Day too. How the fuck did I forget that? It was Father's Day. All right, so this was perfect. This was actually perfect. All right, so this was a great content play by Jesse.
And as one of these weird internet people where you got a history online, my sons are way younger than you, by the way. They're little kids, but I do worry that one day they're going to see all this stupid crap I've done on the internet and go, hey, Dad, you know, WTF, what's going on here? What were you thinking? So I did want to pick your brain about that. Like, how do you feel about all this? You must see all these things about your dad. You must hear stuff.
I don't really let it get in the way of me and his relationship. I'll kind of joke about it. Like, I've made jokes about you know, the videos that went on Twitter, and then other sites, you know what I'm talking about. I made jokes about that, but it never really affected me and my dad's relationship. I don't really think about it as much. It does suck whenever someone brings it up, because they're like, oh, hey, your dad did this, and yeah, it kind of sucks. But it's.
Do you laugh it off though, or is it like, are you actually bummed, or is it just like, oh man, they've got an easy way to get me? Because that's what I worry about with my kids, is like, oh, it's going to be like the trump card of the playground. You know what I mean? Like all right, let me ask you this. Do kids at your, I assume you go to school, right? You go to school. Do kids at your school know who your dad is?
Yeah, most of them.
And they know that he's your dad?
Yeah.
Like, has a kid ever come up to you, you know, wherever, and I was just on the playground, but you're older than that. You don't go to playground, right? Have they ever come up to you and been like, hey, your dad is gay and here's proof, and then hold up their phone and start showing it to you?
Yeah,
Okay, so he's about to tell this story. This is probably the most fucked up thing that Nate has had to admit to anybody online. This is going to be crazy. You're going to feel really bad for this kid in like another minute.
It actually happened.
Really?
Yeah, this happened twice at school. One time I was walking home. These like older kids, probably like near the end of high school, they walked up to me, started like questioning me, and then showing me like pictures of
Oh God! See, listen, I mean, just to be clear, I don't have anything like that for my kids when they grow up, but you know, I do feel like any stupid little silly bit I've ever done online, I feel like.
Hold on, let's go back. Let's listen to that again.
Really? And start showing it to you.
I'm gonna actually slow this thing down. I would have listened to that again at normal speed.
Yeah, this actually happened.
Really?
Yeah, this happened twice at school. One time I was walking home. These like older kids, probably like near the end of high school, they walked up to me, started like questioning me, and then showing me like pictures of
God.
This kid, dude, fucking some older kids came up to him and just showed him the video of his dad sucking dick. Imagine that, dude. How could you could never argue or fight with anybody ever again in high school, because the dude who you're fighting with could just whip out a phone and just show you a video of your dad being a literal cocksucker. Imagine having a literal cocksucker. This is your dad. It is like, it's video. Everybody can see. Dude. This kid, he's going to have it rough. He's going to have it rough. Yeah, I mean, I really, really hope that he just doesn't become like a serial killer or a school shooter. Like, if he ends up becoming some edgy, alt-right conservative, he ends up becoming the next Richard Spencer, I mean, that would suck too. But, I mean, I could at least understand why. I could understand why. Yeah, he was born on veteran difficulty. Born on super hell dive difficulty. Like, dude. And he has to see this, dude. Like, he had to walk home or ride the bus after school that day with, like, the image of his dad sucking dick on his mind. This is the things that Nathaniel Bottle has to go through. So, yeah, you guys can watch the rest of this if you want to. The rest of Jesse's interview with Nate's son on his channel Pod Awful. Go and watch it now before his this new channel of Jesse's gets deleted again, because it will. And here, this is an interesting little video I want to get through. This is one of those Nick clip channels I was talking about, where they just dick ride Fuentes. He's the most canceled man in the world, but somehow he has all of these fucking dudes who just clip his shit and they just post stuff for him for free. So he always has a presence on the biggest platforms regardless. And on this, here's another thing, right? You see right here, they've like photoshopped Nate's face. Something that Nick's... Hold on, let me look up a video real quick. Because I want to show you. I want to show you guys Nick Fuentes. Oh, Rich is streaming right now. Hey, everybody, Rich is streaming. Go and watch your boy. Women love Nick Fuentes. A phrase that literally nobody... Look at this shit, right? Atlas Thug. This is another one of those guys who just simps for Nick. And he just makes videos about how Nick is the greatest guy. And they do shit like this, where they just Photoshop Nick's face. So Nick does not look like this. Nick looks like a fucking slubby, chubby Mexican. Look, hold up. Nick Fuentes, it was in The Atlantic, I think. He recently had an article written about him. Where is it? Where is it? No, it was right here. See, right here, right here. This is what Nick actually looks like. Hold on. Damn. What the fuck? This is what Nick actually looks like. Right here. This chubby... He's never looked more Mexican. He gets more Mexican every year. The reason why Nick has to live in the north, he has to live in places like Chicago where it's cold, because his fucking Italian-Mexican genetics, if he was living in the southern part of the country, would just make him look like an Aztec. Right? And he's chubby. He's got these shit. He damn near got a nose like a nigga does. Right? He doesn't look like this. This looks like that he took Robert Pattinson and then like he like made his hair like Nick's. This is what groypers do. So, but there is something interesting. Is that somebody asked Nick about what he thinks about Nate being a groyper, and he had a surprisingly wise bit of words to share, right? He might actually be... Well, hold on. Let me just watch the video and you guys will see.
Fuentes offered genuine fatherly advice, speaking to Destiny's son not as a rival, but as a parent.
When you're 15 years old, because...
Fuentes, catching both his critics and supporters off guard.
I don't know. I don't want to get mixed up in that, because you know what happens when you got kids is when you're 14 years old, okay, people got to lay off this guy. He's 14 years old. You know, people are on his Twitter. Oh, he's a Nazi. He's this, he's that. He's on a show. Look, he's 14 years old. And I'm not saying that to belittle him. He seems like a very intelligent young guy and seems very precocious. So I'm not belittling him. When you're 14, I still believe you're a young man, but people should really be considerate and not treat it like a big spectacle. Him going out there and saying what he's saying, you know, there's clearly some family thing. He's griping about his mom, about his dad, on his Twitter, on his Discord. Obviously, he's saying he's a groyper. He's saying he likes Hitler. His dad is like a famous leftist. Like, there's a personal dimension to it as well. So, you just got to wonder what is best for him as a young man. And I would say it about myself. I'd say it about him. It's not a good idea for a 14-year-old to be on the internet doing polemical stuff. I'm going to be honest with you. I just don't think it's a good idea. It's not in his...
See, this is rare Nick W. Nick Fuentes is one of the only guys in all of this who isn't trying to groom Nathaniel Bonnell. One of the only guys. He's like, you know what? I think that Nate should log off and touch grass. I think it's not good for him to be talking to all these people about politics and the Holocaust and all this other. He obviously has some weird relationship with his dad. He should just leave the internet alone a little bit. Bro should just go on a trip with his dad, just touch grass, just leave this shit alone. This isn't a good environment for an adolescent, right? Nick Fuentes could actually see this. If Nick can see this, there's no excuse for the rest of these niggas, right? And these are two, like, you have Nick on one hand, and you also have Jesse. Jesse, goofy internet guy, who's also like a concerned father, is like, yo, so come on. Don't let Nick Fuentes be the smartest guy in the room when it comes to how we should be handling this 14-year-old just being edgy or whatever on the internet. Okay, now I'm not trying to miss super chats, guys. Hold on. So hold up. Okay. At MikeynohMore, the Ralph male is the most canceled man in Mexico. If you really want to know the truth about it, bish. I mean, he is way more canceled than Nick is. Russ Cole 01, thanks for the 5. Kino, bruh. Thank you, I try. He looks like the Zoomer version of Sam Francis in that article. Just needs more weight. I woke up looking like a Mexican. He's looking more Mexican. Yeah, do you blame him? Would you want to spend time with Destiny if he was your dad? I mean, that's the thing. I probably would. If he was my dad, right? And like, I've known him since I was young, I probably would want to form a connection with him. And that's the hopeless. It's like, it's easy for us to say that on the outside looking in to, you know what? I wouldn't want anything to do with Destiny, but he actually does. He really does want something. He really does want to have a relationship with his father. It's obvious. The lack of a relationship with his father has done a lot of damage to him. So we're going to wrap things up with the last thing. It's going to be about the grill cast. So I want everybody, I'm never going to tell you who you should or shouldn't support, but I support these guys right here. Orion and Micah. I fuck with the grill cast. I'm one of the grillers. As you can see, I'm already subscribed. Already got the content liked. I fuck with the grill cast heavy. Because they're what you call radical centrists. And what radical centrist means isn't necessarily that you don't have political beliefs. It's that you don't engage in wing cuckery. You don't engage in wing cuck behavior. You don't believe that there are like sides that you have to take on like issues, especially not on internet issues, right? Deciding political matters are for the ballot box, and that's basically it, right? Taking this shit too seriously is bad for your health, is a sign that you're it's usually a sign that you're mentally ill. Not guaranteed, but I've noticed that mental illness and taking internet politics super seriously, they seem very congruent with each other. So these dudes, they bring on Nate, and they give probably the best interview by realizing we're just talking to an edgy 14, 15-year-old. I don't know how old the nigga is at this point. We're just talking to some edgy teenager or whatever. And they take it for what it is, and they have fun with it while talking about this shit. So we're going to go through these clips real quick, and then we're going to be up out of here. All right. W-H-I-T-E. Coming with the heat.
Welcome to the Grillcast, the only podcast in the whole entire world dedicated.
R.I.P. to Egg White, by the way.
To radical centrism.
He's not dead yet, but R.I.P. anyway.
I am your host, Orion. Joining me today is Micah, as always. What's going on, buddy?
Hey guys, I'm back. I'm happy to report that the testosterone replacement therapy was a resounding success. So I'm really glad I could be back for today's show.
I can hear it in your voice. You're a new man, a changed man, you know?
Indeed.
It's good to hear. And we also have, and you're not going to believe this, even though it's already happened once before, the king of the cornfield himself, a young man on a generational run, the prodigal child, the one that was spoken about in legend, Nathan Bonnell. How the hell are you doing, buddy?
Hi, I'm doing great. Nothing's happened.
Nothing's happened, you know, just all very calm. Flat waters here in Nathan's world, and a Skibidi toilet, Ohio to you, good sir. You know, I just want you to know that I'm not like all these other millennial faggots you've been talking to. I'm very hip and with it, okay? I have that W Riz. I'm dialed in with my finger on the pulse. I think you're gonna find that here on the show today.
Yeah.
How are you feeling, Nathan? Did that intro song get you pumped up? Are you excited to be back? I know it was a bit of a rough start in terms of your introduction to our show.
What happened to Egg White? Nothing. And that's what's sad about it. Because I really do think that Eggy was a really good rapper, right? I feel like what he needed, well, it didn't help that he did look like accountant. People say he looks like an incel. I don't think Egg White looks like an incel. I think he looks like, I don't know, he looks like a dude who's supposed to be doing taxes for a living. He looks like a dude who's supposed to be working in some red collar type of occupation. He doesn't have a rapper look. He doesn't even have like the emo white boy rapper look, right? Like he just doesn't have that aesthetic, and he was never able to make it work. I think he could have had like a good job as a ghostwriter for somebody though. Anyway, recently, the last place I saw Egg White was he was on a podcast with, I shit you not, Emperor Lemon and Mumpkey Jones. Like, I don't even know. I don't watch this podcast that Imp Lemon does with like Rusty Cage, his friend or whatever. But they had Mumpkey Jones and Egg White on there. And I don't know whether those two are regular guests. But that's the thing that I saw. That was the last thing I saw Egg White was. So I don't know if that's what he's doing now, and just part of Imp Lemon's crew. Hey, it's better than being a nobody.
Hopefully that hasn't warded you off of the radical centrist movement.
Gorilla's trying to get that skilla.
That was great. Yeah, it's me hype.
Hell yeah, we're all hyped.
Thanks
here.
for the two, buddy.
Now you've been, you say you haven't been going through a lot lately, and that's for you because obviously you have a strong constitution. But from the outside looking in, I'm looking at you. I'm saying this kid is on a generational run. You've been going on a lot of shows, making the rounds, establishing yourself in the realm of the online political sphere. And there's been one common denominator between all of them that I've noticed, and it seems like everybody who talks to you, all these guys, they want to be your electronic father. You know, it's like, have you noticed that?
Yeah. It's pretty cringe. My dad talked about it a bit. Really cringe.
It really is cringe. Like, you have Drew Pavlo, that faggot. He was being the stern, disapproving dad, you know, shaking his head whenever you would make an awesome-based point.
Yeah.
There's Alex Stein. You went on his show, right?
Yeah.
Alex Stein. Yeah, the extremely loud and boisterous to hide the fact that he's secretly gay dad. That was his audition. Jesse from Pod Awful, he was the type of dad that went to prison. Your mom won't tell you why he went to prison. He was there. He was there. These are some of the guys you've been talking to. So, I mean, out of all of them. Yeah, no shade against any of them. All fantastic people, really. But I don't know. What have you thought about these guys when you're going on all these shows, making the rounds? What has your impression been of these people?
You know, Alex Stein, I don't really have too much bad to say about him. He was nice. He was fun. I like being on his podcast or show. Drew Pavlo, I have a lot of bad things I can say about him, but all I'm gonna say is that he is possibly the easiest dub I've ever gotten in any sort of debate with an adult.
The easiest dub he ever had. Only 14 years old, and he's already like, yeah, Drew, easiest scalp I ever took. Man, I was half asleep when I was like, he was wearing a chain, he had the iPods in, right, the AirPods in and shit. He was looking away from the screen half the time. He was still clobbering Drew. Drew had to bring in another nigga just to back him up. And he still lost. It's embarrassing. It is embarrassing, dude.
Oh, yeah, dude. Hell yeah. No, that guy was very, I don't know, he's a very cringe guy. Like, he does that thing.
Mumpkey Jones is alive, by the way. YouTube decided to reverse Thanos snap. They've been reverse Thanos snapping a lot of channels, and Mumpkey's was one of them. His second channel, Simeon Jimmy or whatever, it came back. Or Mumpkey Jones too. it came back out of nowhere. And then he deleted all his videos, and I guess he's starting over. But yeah, Monkey's alive again. He's alive again.
Where he's like, you know, like shaking his head to the camera to show that he's like disapproving of what's going on and like, oh,
Worski got his back too. Let's go.
Here, even though he's clearly mentally a child.
Yeah, he was
so. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna add. He was so unprepared for that debate. I had no notes. He said he researched for hours before that debate.
He had no notes. He had no notes. He really just came in there. He really just came in there dry, right? Like, okay. I've been talking to some groypers about some Holocaust denial type shit. I don't know. Let's see. And he still was just whooping. He just swept the floor with Drew. Dude, Drew. I don't know. I don't think Drew can live that down. I feel like more people should hold that against him going forward. Because a lot of people think that Drew Pavlo... Again, people are going to think I hate him. I don't hate Drew Pavlo. I just think there are already enough internet pundits who think that they can be the next political influencer or whatever. Drew is not qualified. He does not meet the bare minimum of the already low benchmark for like reaching that milestone. He's not even fun to listen to. At least Destiny and Hassan, at least they're fun to listen to with all their retardation, right? It's like, that's why they always get in all these arcs and sagas. When's the last interesting arc or saga that was involving Drew Pavlo? I don't know, that time he got kicked out of university because he kept talking about China too much and protesting about him on campus? That one time he got arrested, or I don't know, charged, because he tried to campaign for his political career. He lost, by the way. And then he got charged for it because he didn't have a permit for it. These aren't even arcs or something. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't let Drew live that down. He got beat by a 14-year-old. Even after it became a 2-on-1. Even after it became a 3-on-1. He still lost to somebody who's in the 9th grade.
Brought on someone else to help him, and I still won. It was pretty sad for him.
You said I'm sorry. He said he researched for hours. Did he say that on the show?
I think so. Like in show, he researched. Yeah, because it was a debate, but he just wasn't prepared.
Well, you know, his research, he probably went to Google, why is Hitler bad?
Yeah.
And, yeah, you know, I've also seen on your Twitter, Nathan, there's just a lot of people trying to give you life advice, like a bunch of fat old retards, trying to impart fatherly wisdom. And, you know, yeah, I know that you said it's cringe, this, like, electronic father thing that these guys are doing, but I'm an old fat retard. I thought maybe I could be your electronic father. I just want to pitch this to you really quick. You know, everyone's doing it.
I appreciate that Orion he's very open about the grooming. Like, dude, I want to groom you. I want to be your daddy, Nate. Let me be the person who gives you all your beliefs.
It's what's in right now. Everybody seems to be having a good time trying to do this. So here's what I have to offer as your electronic father. I'm the fun, drunk electronic dad, right?
Yeah.
I'll give you your first electronic beer, as long as you don't tell your electronic mother, of course. But you can.
Yeah.
I'll give that to you. I'll call you.
Okay, let's move on to the next clip. Saying that Drew is more of a Twitter person is kind of a understatement. That dude has one of the most terminal cases of Twitter fingers I've ever seen. That seems to be his career. I remember he said something like, I don't know, I make 4 figures a month just from Twitter. Which, even if you believe that, even if you take Drew's word 100%, that's not something you should brag about, right? Nobody respects any of those Twitter accounts that do nothing but farm engagement to get the bag from Elon. Nobody does that. So for you to be doing that, but you're also trying to present yourself as like this political guy, because those dudes who do that, they don't try to present themselves as anything but dudes who are farming engagement to get money. You're doing that, but you're also trying to present yourself as somebody who has anything of worth to say about modern politics. Like, it's retarded.
And I also want to talk to you a little bit about Destiny, your father. Not too much though. I'm sure you're sick of it. People trying to use you as a cudgel against him. But I do really need to know. It's something I've been very curious about. Is his reaction to your generational run? Like, what's he saying to you about all of this? How's he taking it?
He hasn't really talked too much about it to me. He's talked about it. I mean, he's made jokes. I've messaged him once
since his son talked about me a few days ago, and my dad said I need to chill. I'm on a generational run to get my life ruined. That's exactly what he said. And he has, I guess, a pretty base take. It's kind of cringe for people to use me as a pawn against my dad, or to hold me especially accountable for my political opinions, which I'm not saying that's like really bad. I do hold myself. I do see myself as someone smarter than like the average 14-year-old kid. I also do think it's cringe to like fixate on a 14-year-old kid when this is something these people have probably done. It just hasn't been documented.
Well,
dude, this is what I'm like. The greatest virtue of Nate isn't just that he doesn't take this internet shit that seriously. That's already like a massive W. It's also that he's very self-aware. Like he's a lot of dudes. Here's what makes a lolcow, and this is also why Drew Pavlo, not necessarily a lolcow yet, but lolcow adjacent, taking the internet too seriously, being mad at the internet, as Josh would say, and not having self-awareness. Those two things put together, recipe for disaster in the future. Especially if you have like some major personality flaw. That's just like, those are the two commonalities when it comes to lolcow, is that you just take stupid shit on the net too seriously, and you also just don't have the self-awareness to look at yourself, right? This is all of them. DSP, Low Tier God, Ethan Ralph, Nick Fuentes, all these dudes. It's the same thing with all of them.
You know.
So at the minimum, he at least doesn't look like he's going to become like a lolcow in the classical sense. He might still go off the deep end because his dad doesn't seem to want to stop. What with the admitting that he had access to CP and being in a lawsuit because he was like filming people without their permission while he was fucking them and shit. And also people like showing him videos of his dad sucking dick. Like obviously he's going to have a lot of problems go down the road, right? When he's growing up, especially at this point in his life, he's really at a very turbulent age. But he's got a better head than most of the adults who are criticizing him.
These people running around being like, I can't believe this 14-year-old has extreme political
Oh, is that going?
beliefs.
Yeah.
Like it's something that's not common.
I think out of everyone, it would make sense for me to have extreme political beliefs, honestly.
Yeah. As far as some of the things that...
Nick has spurts of self-awareness, right? He only has spurts of them. Like when he occasionally goes in on himself about the fact that he was conceived from IV. Well, not conceived, but you guys know he's a test tube baby, right? It's time like that when he's talking about how he's a real human being and how he likes being alive, but he doesn't actually believe in that, so it does bother him. That's when he's self-aware. But a lot of times Nick is straight up delusional. This is what I'm talking about when I say Nick ends up burning it to the ground. When he's on his comeback run, that's when he's salient. That's when like his mind is clear, he has clarity, he has self-awareness, he's doing what he's supposed to do. But he starts getting high on his own supply, and he goes into lolcow mode, and he loses that clarity and that self-awareness, and then he ends up burning it to the ground and coming back down. And rinse and repeat. In a few months or maybe a year from now, Nick starts gaining momentum again. The gropers are like, oh, Nick is about to go mainstream, yada yada, rinse and repeat. We've seen it time and time again.
You've brought up on Twitter, you made a tweet about your dad being Darth Vader and yourself Luke Skywalker. You made this analogy. Do you deny that this was blatant theft of my intellectual analogy?
I think it's the Fifth Amendment. I live my Fifth Amendment.
I will say it was a lot funnier when Nathan said it. I listened to that episode and I was like, yeah, I don't know, man, a Star Wars reference, you fucking old-ass millennial.
You're older than me.
Sure. But then when Nathan said it, I was like, dude, that rules. That's awesome.
That's
I don't
fair.
know. It's just
That's
about the
fair.
delivery, man.
That's fair. He's an ideas man. He got an idea and he put it into practice and it was successful for him. So I
You know, if anything, you're coming at him kind of cross here. You should be ecstatic that your idea was lifted, that you were chosen in this way. You helped with the generational run, and now you're going to make a big deal out of it? You're just one of those guys in the history books that's in there. You're unnamed, you know?
I feel bad for Mike
that's a
now.
fair criticism. Yeah.
Nah, don't feel bad for him. Don't feel bad for him. Nothing to feel bad about there.
All right, now on to the next clip. In this one,
Thank you.
So he has encouraged you to get offline. He's basically saying that
this is going to be one about he's had some problem with school because people are checking his social media and they're like, you can't say that, Nate, which they're not wrong. He should say that. But, you know,
your life if you keep doing what you're doing. What do you think about that?
You know, until yesterday and until today and yesterday, I thought he was just being that cringe guy saying, hey, you gotta chill, watch what you say on the internet. I can't say too much. I think if I say too much, it could possibly get me in a lot more trouble. But some people at my school, their parents found my Twitter, they reached out to the school, I had to talk to someone one day and I had to talk to someone else. And it was just a big situation. It was bad for me.
What did they say to you? Like, what are these people like? I don't know that they really get it, or they get like, what, you know, some things are kind of jokes, some things are kind of not, kind of like that fine line, and like, I don't know, what did they say to you about all this?
First day, it was about like my mental health. They wanted to check up on me. I don't really know what that was about. They got a report about some of my tweets about like my fights with my parents sometimes. And then just today, actually, it got escalated with me being a possible like risk. People not being comfortable with me going to that school, mainly parents, saying I don't want my kid going to school, with this kid saying a bunch of insane stuff online. And it just got insanely escalated.
it's like, dude, imagine being that type of Karen. I don't want my kids going to school with him when he's saying those. What is he saying? Like, what is he saying? Like, he's just making some edgy joke. Man, parents back in the day, when I was going to school, like, we didn't have social media like this. I mean, we did. I guess my generation was when, like, social media, the generation. I'm not that old, right? I'm pretty sure I'm like, I don't know exactly. I'm pretty sure I'm like younger than both of these guys over here. Right? I guess, what would you say? Zillennial? Yeah, I'm the Zillennials. That's when like social media was starting, but it wasn't all encompassing. Like, we still touched grass. It was the perfect, like, my era of social media was like the perfect for you're in high school and everybody's kind of online, but we still go outside sometimes. It was the perfect balance between touching grass and being on social media. And kids don't have that anymore. Now, what you say on, like, Twitter or Facebook or whatever, super fucking serious, can get you suspended. It's basically the same as saying you're a school shooter. I don't know. It's a stupid reason for him to get in trouble.
Yeah, that is funny, the idea that these people are like, oh man, we don't want Nathan to go to our school. He's saying stuff online, and then they go on fucking Facebook probably, and they're like, I'm gonna kill Obama. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Somebody should do something about this person.
Yeah, the most unhinged shit I've seen has always been boomers on Facebook.
Yeah, it is public high school though. Very DI. It's very inclusive, like focused. It's one of those schools. Say one.
Really,
like,
even in Nebraska?
Yeah, unfortunately, the disease has caught up to the cornfields.
You know what's great? That's a good one. See, he's got some zingers. Nate's got some zingers in him. There was recently, who was it? Gavin Newsom. He keeps making posts about how Stephen Miller is this fascist who's like destroying America, and everybody is like, "Are you trying to get Stephen Miller assassinated, Gavin? Governor Newsom, are you trying to get Stephen Miller killed? Why do you keep saying something that inflammatory when there's so much political and violence going on? Why would you do that? It's like this is a common thing now. So for him to just get in trouble for this, like, kids are held to a higher standard than adults. You can be they're right. You can be a fucking boomer on Facebook and say the craziest fucking shit about, you could just laugh about Charlie Kirk dying or saying they need to kill Biden or whatever. Meanwhile, some kid makes an edgy joke about like Hitler, Jews, or gay people or whatever, and they get suspended from school. It's stupid.
Yeah, I just don't think it's fair that you have this double standard of, you know, adults are able to, from the comfort of their home, make non-actionable threats online, but they won't allow their children to do so.
Exactly.
I don't think that's fair.
Well, are they even thinking about the hypocrisy?
Which is the worst thing that you could possibly do.
I'm sorry, Nathan. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just gonna say
the person who talked to me today, who was much more understanding, he let me like explain my side of the story. He understood that I am a smart individual. What I'm saying isn't out of hate. I'm not like actually a security threat to the school like a lot of the parents are saying. It's just an insane situation to be in, especially with a lot of these parents actually knowing who my dad is. Some of these parents might be some of the people sending me insane messages on Twitter. Some of these parents could possibly be some of the people threatening my dad. I don't know. Some of these people could be on Kiwi Farms. I don't know these parents, and that is something that worries me. Because what my dad does online, it's out of my control, and who sees that, they might know me, they might not.
Yeah, I think it's just crazy in general that they'd even say that you're a security threat. I mean, maybe once you hit the gym some more, I mean, I would be a little worried. Nathan. But at this point,
that's what Vegan Games is trying to do. Vegan Games is gonna get him on that that vegan protein. That I don't know. How do vegans do it? Aside from the obvious way that vegans get swole, you know, certain sauces, certain substances that you may inject into your arms before you go, after you do a set or before you do a set. You know, some plant-based protein. Yeah, he's gonna get him on that. He's gonna get him swole, and then he's really gonna be a problem. I feel like that's the best way that Nate could get back at his dad, is just becoming a gym bro. Just going to the gym, getting swole. Because I already think he's taller than his dad. I thought that when the video where he popped his dad with the airsoft gun, I thought that he looked taller than Destiny in that. He might even be taller than Nick. Between Nick and Destiny, I'm not sure who's the taller one. The internet was gentrified. Lost Coyote, the internet was gentrified by the most boring motherfuckers imaginable. Very fucking true. It's actually devastating when you think about it. Everything is centralized around like 3 to 4 websites now. And it's the reason why the internet is so trash. Just people who do nothing but just post about themselves on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or whatever make up the majority of the internet. They ruin YouTube too. Like, take a Wayback Machine and go to like the homepage of YouTube. It's like night and day. Hold on, give me a minute, guys. Alright, I'm back. Alright, we're gonna watch this last clip. And we're just gonna end it after that. Just gonna whip this up, so...
Are you gonna put all of us in camps? Like, is there any way for me to get an exception?
Can I have a hall pass, sir?
You know, just leave the country. I said this to Drew Pavlo. Leave the country while you can.
Well, I do think he needs to leave the country for sure. That guy is a faggot of the highest order.
You know,
I just do gotta.
I hope he does come to the U.S. someday. I think that'd be great if he did come to the U.S. He lives in Australia right now, but I'd love to tell him in person what I think about appointing my grandmother.
Such a base kid, dude. What such a base? It's so. I don't know, man. I just take pleasure in knowing that there's some kids who are alright. I mean, it's not alright, because again, he's being groomed by multiple people who are trying to be his daddy or induct him into his cult. He's surprisingly good at resisting them. He's not as deep into like the Groiper clutches as I feared he was, which is a good thing, right? But it's good to see there's some kids out here with like an actual good sense of humor.
Did seethe super hard about that. So, do you want to like tell the story? I don't have the clip in front of me.
Yeah. So I am very consistent. I thought there's a bad faith
argument to use like my personal life against me, but I'm probably still gonna engage with that argument. But yeah, when you have an extreme take, you gotta account for everything. And I was like thinking in the future, yeah, I'd probably have to get rid of her. No double standards, not for my family. These are my family of people. Just because you're related to the president, like the FBI said, no one is above the law. If we are a white ethno state, and the non-whites just have to leave. I don't care who you are.
Now you do have a little bit of that Cubana.
That's just being a
my
principled
friend.
guy.
Do you think
know?
there's like a cutoff point? Do you think there's like a one drop rule? Like where does it start?
What's the ratio?
Yeah, what's the ratio? The golden ratio.
You know, I think it should be 85% and more than you're white. 85% more direct European ancestry, and that's what I have because I'm barely.
That used to be the case.
Actually,
Many such
all
cases.
the Cubans.
Hold on, that used to be a thing. I'm gonna show you guys how serious that one drop rule shit was. After this, hold on. It's about to.
My family is like it's German, Nordic, and pre-Castro Cubans. Pre-Castro Cubans are the ones who came before Fidel, and those are seen as the white Cubans, the final whites, the ones who left to Florida and the rest of the South, and then also South America, south of North America, stuff like that. And then also, I'm more Nordic and German than I am Cuban.
Nigga just knows his whole ancestry tree. Like, it's crazy. Like, I don't care that. Well, I guess. Well, I only know because I don't know. I have a sister who cares a lot about this shit too, and she told me. And this is how I found out that one guy in chat, Dylan too, Mikey, are you black? Probably. I'm black by American standards, right? I have extremely light-skinned people in my family. Like, in my immediate family, apparently I'm like at least 12% white. I was crazy when I saw the ancestry. Apparently, I mean, I knew I was gonna be like kind of Anglo, because all black people in America are like a little bit white British, right? Kind of Scottish, kind of English, kind of Welsh, kind of Irish. It was the 4% Scandinavian that caught me off guard. Where the fuck did that come from? Because I live in the South, by the way. When the fuck were some Swedish niggas in the South? It's not even like the part of the South you would expect somebody to migrate to, like Texas. I live in like the deep South, like east of the Mississippi. Mikey, did Mikey get bleached? Somebody in my family tree did, because again, I got some light skin. I got some people in my family that they're just like a wig away from looking straight up biracial. Let's put it that way, right? So it's just an example to how much. Hold on. An example of how for real we took that one drop shit back in the day. Here is a photo of some New Orleans slave children. Some mulatto New Orleans slave children from New Orleans, right? Are they white? Well, they're not white enough because they were slaves. Now, they were house slaves, obviously. But still, these were slave children. You know, apple didn't fall quite far enough from that Negro tree. You know, they had to wait until the Civil War. They had to wait until Abraham Lincoln set them free. This is how serious, this is how real, right? So this is why when people say Nick Fuentes is white, Nick Fuentes is white by the very fluid definition of whiteness that we get. Like, white Hispanic even being a term just shows how, like, open the term to being a white person is now, right? Like, that wasn't even a category before. Either you were Spanish or you just weren't a white person, right? So Nick Fuentes would not be white at least like 100 years ago. Like back in the day, nah. And that's basically it, guys. That's all I have for you this stream. I just wanted to, because I've been wanting to talk about this. I have a list of things that I like to talk about, that I plan to talk about on, that I tend to make videos about. But certain things, I start gathering research on them, and I realize I can't make a video out of this. It's not enough substance here. There's not enough for me to say here. But still, I just decided, fuck it, why not? Why not talk about Nate? Because I'm not going to talk about him otherwise. So I'll just read the chat a little bit for like another few minutes, and then we'll call it a day. The Norse might be North England. And oh yeah, I know. It's a lot of Danes who came down to England and raped their way across the country before Alfred the Great sent them packing. That could be where some of it's from. The Benjamin Franklin standard of white is something else. Oh yeah. Basically, you had to be from the Benjamin Franklin standard of whiteness. Hold on real quick. Let me put this on the screen. We can look at that too before we go. Fuck it, hold up. Let's just go through what being white meant back in the day, because the standard, people talk about how standards have fallen a lot in America, and it's true. We've had a lot of fallen standards in this country. People like Jackie Singh and whatnot definitely would not have... Jackie Singh even working for Joe Biden's presidential campaign like she did is proof of how far standards have fallen in this country. But the greatest standard that has fallen is the standard for whiteness. So here we have it. We have Benjamin Franklin's map for what counts as white. So right here we have the objective white category. If you're from the British Isles but you're not Irish, automatically white. See, this one is actually kind of tough, right? Because no, this ain't the right map. This ain't the right map. See, because he also considered the Dutchman too. If you were Dutch, if you were Belgian, and if you were Northern German, you were also considered white, right? And you were also from the Protestant part of Ireland, you were considered white, right? Now, after that, right, this map is also kind of inaccurate too. After that was Scandinavians. Scandinavians were the next whitest people in Europe, right? And then you had the Protestant Central Europeans and also Huguenots, right? And that's all the Protestant Europeans, right? It was, so number one whiteness, Protestant British people. Second tier whiteness, Scandinavian and Germanic Protestants. Now, after that, you had the swarthy people. You're still technically white, right? You had the French, you had the Spanish, you had the Italians, the whatever. Basically, everybody who wasn't Protestant, but still, you're not from the brownish parts of the country. And then you got like fucking Sicily and Greece that's been Turkified to fuck. And then you're like the lowest tier of whiteness, right? And then after that, there are no white people after that, right? Turks aren't white. North Africans like Tunisians who look white, they aren't white, okay? That was it. It was very simple. Very simple. But somehow, the standards just kept breaking because we kept getting all these Polish and Italian and Hungarian and Spanish immigrants, right? And they just kept saying, well, actually, I'm white too. And, you know, the KKK for a moment, there was a time when the KKK was going harder against, like, Catholics from Central and Eastern and Southern Europe more than they were going at Jews or blacks, right? That was a whole thing. So, yeah, it's like this idea of white, like, there was a reason why WASP was created as a category. It was because that Anglo-Protestant whiteness was being threatened. I talked about this in my Nick Fuentes talk, right? There's an entire history to the evolution of what it means to be white in America and how it's just changed constantly over like the last 2 centuries. But nobody wants to talk about that, right? That's why there's this one thing that Josh said, like Josh Moon, Noel said, where he wanted to start taking away citizenship from people, which is a thing a lot of people want to do. But he said specifically, take away birthright citizenship for everybody, but I don't know, maybe like or people who descended from the original colonies, right? And you have some dudes underneath them like, wait, Josh, I'm Polish, that means me. And it's like, yeah, nigga, that does include you. You were only part of the club recently, right? So, yeah, that's about it. I hope that you all understand now what it means to be white. Don't let people like Nick Fuentes fool you, try and convince you otherwise. They don't know what they're talking about. Lactose intolerant Europeans, correct. The Catholic Protestant beef in my family runs deep. Oh yeah, people forget how real that shit was. It was very real. Catholic Protestant beef. It was damn near religious wars in America for a bit after the Civil War ended. Are you going to do a vid on Tariq Nasheed? Yes, not right now, but he is on the docket. My docket is pretty thick. Is that the butt breaking guy? The very same. I don't know why, because Tyreek is one of the most pro-black niggas like ever. But he ended up creating one of the most, like, the far right loves the butt breaking meme. He created one of the most potent anti-black memes ever, right? It's crazy. LTG and Tariq need to collab. They do. When's the RAF doc coming out? Hopefully the first week of next month. Mikey, are you butt broken? Not yet. Maybe one day. One day when I just can't keep going on. But for right now, you know, we're still on the grind. I still got some sauce in me. I'm not butt broken yet. They haven't butt broke me yet. All right. Thanks for tuning in, guys. It's been a great show. Until next time.